Chapter 974. No, his souls are endless. It's useless even if you come. Let me do it. Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Bai Ditian looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. Protect Feng Yinyang well. Yin Chuan instructed and stepped forward. Yin Chuan reached out with his right hand and said, Stellar cycle. Whoosh. A strange energy suddenly appeared around Yin Chuan. This energy instantly locked onto the 36 souls and pulled them. The souls immediately began to revolve according to a specific trajectory, like the rotation of the stars. The souls seemed to have lost their sense of purpose and began to revolve according to the trajectory. Then they began to attack the other soul. He's controlling the souls that I've enslaved to deal with me. Musher's soul said in surprise. Rumble. The number of god souls around Yin Chuan quickly increased from 36 to 360, and then to 3,600. More and more souls began to revolve around Yin Chuan. It was as if Yin Chuan had become the center of the universe. Countless stars in the universe were revolving around him rapidly. Rumble. Under Yin Chuan's stellar cycle, more and more souls were being controlled. They swept towards the other side like a storm. Musher's soul could continuously summon souls, but Yin Chuan's control was faster than his. In an instant, the battle became a stalemate. How is this possible? Who are you? How can a mortal have such a profound cultivation technique? What cultivation technique is this? Musher exclaimed. Within the storm of souls, Yin Chuan smiled coldly and ignored him. Rumble. The surging souls began to flow back and collided with Musher's soul again and again. It caused great damage to his soul. Bastard! Musher shouted coldly. Yin Chuan ignored him, paying him back in his own coin. Every soul that came out would flow back. It was much more brilliant than Lu Jin's destruction. About 2 hours later, Buzz, Feng Yinyang, and the grave ghost flame trembled. The two of them slowly opened their eyes. Grave phosphorescent bones? You actually chased me all the way here. Since that's the case, go back to reincarnation. Boom! Musher's soul was instantly pushed into the reincarnation passage. Bastard will-o'-the-wisp. I'll come back for you. Musher's soul roared, but in the blink of an eye, it was drowned in the reincarnation passageway. With a wave of Yin Chuan's hand, the rolling souls also entered the reincarnation passage. Only then did the grave ghost fire look at Feng Yinyang. Feng Yinyang? Who would have thought that in the 100,000 years in the consciousness world, your soul would awaken more and more? Who would have thought that you're actually the reincarnation of our lineage's progenitor? The ghost flame in the grave suddenly spoke. After reincarnating for 10,000 lifetimes, you actually returned. You are Gui Guzi? The ghostly flame in the grave narrowed its eyes. Gui Guzi? Feng Yinyang asked in confusion. Don't you feel more and more familiar with the Gu lineage's spells? The ghost flame in the grave said in a deep voice. That's right. Feng Yinyang nodded. You haven't recovered your memories from your previous life, so naturally you don't know. Others might not know who Gui Guzi is, but I, Musher, know. Who would have thought that it would be you? Ha ha. Gui Gu's inheritance. I'll return it to you. The ghost flame in the grave suddenly laughed. As it spoke, the ghost flame in the grave took out a black jade token. However, it was only half of a jade token. Sect Master, you can't. The northern sect disciples exclaimed. How could this be passed to the southern sect? Their eyes were filled with greed. If the sect master wanted to pass it down, he could pass it to the northern sect disciples. The ghost flame in the grave glanced coldly at the crowd. Oof. The northern sect disciples immediately fell silent. I'll give it to whoever I want. It's not up to you. The ghost flame in the grave said coldly. Yes. The northern sect disciples nodded gloomily. The jade token flew towards Feng Yinyang. Feng Yinyang actually took out the other half of the jade token. When the two pieces touched, they actually merged into one. You're giving it to me just like that? Feng Yinyang exclaimed. It's a long story, You don't need to know for now. Anyway, it's because of Gui Gu's inheritance that I was able to fix my fate. Consider it as me owing Gui Gu's lineage. Now, I'm returning it to its rightful owner. The reason why I can refine the reincarnation pool is not because I have a deeper understanding of Gu's inheritance. On the contrary, I can't study Gu's inheritance at all. This inheritance can only be comprehended by Guzi himself. The reason why I can open the reincarnation pool is because of my Mu-Shur clan's talent. The reason why I opened the reincarnation pool and this reincarnation passage is actually to enter the reincarnation cycle and reincarnate into the life form I want. The ghost flame in the grave laughed. You want to reincarnate? Feng Yinyang exclaimed. You don't understand the Mu-Shur clan. Don't worry about me. Our clan grows through reincarnation. We like to reincarnate. In reincarnation, we can obtain power. The ghost flame in the grave laughed. Northern sect disciples, listen up. From now on, Feng Yinyang is the Northern sect master. All Feng Shui masters, listen to my orders. The ghost flame in the grave gave the final order. Yes, countless Feng Shui masters said blankly. The ghost flame in the grave stood up. Looking at everyone, he finally looked at Feng Yinyang and said, if possible, we'll meet again in the immortal world. Whoosh! The ghost flame in the grave jumped into the reincarnation cycle. The entrance of the reincarnation passage suddenly shrank until it disappeared. Rumble! The void was slowly collapsing as well. Everyone returned to the outside world. The reincarnation pool from before also collapsed after the ghost flame in the grave reincarnated. Everyone was at a loss. The ghost flame in the grave reincarnated. Feng Yinyang became the Northern sect master in the blink of an eye. Feng Yinyang grabbed the complete jade token. The Ghost Valley's branch could be considered to have officially merged. Feng Yinyang himself was also at a loss. I'm Guzi, the reincarnation of the ancestor of the Ghost Valley clan. Is that true? Yin Chuan and the others also frowned. They were surprised by Feng Yinyang. At the same time, they were also surprised by the ghost flame in the grave. Mu-Shur clan, growing through reincarnation. No wonder he didn't care about his lifespan. What kind of strange clan was this? After reincarnation, didn't they become another person? How did the clan continue? How could they still be called the Mu-Shur clan? It seems that my understanding of the immortal world is still too little. Yin Chuan finally could not help but sigh. However, in general, Yin Chuan's harvest this time was enough. Feng Yinyang finally took back the complete inheritance of the Ghost Valley clan. Feng Yinyang also quickly put away his inheritance. Greetings, sect master. A group of Feng Shui masters respectfully said. A group of Feng Shui masters remembered the ghost flame's last words. Ancestor. All the Feng Shui masters looked at Feng Yinyang eagerly. And Feng Yinyang nodded. He recognized a large number of Feng Shui masters. He took over the entire northern sect. Congratulations, Mr. Feng. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Same to you. Feng Yinyang nodded. At this moment, he was in a good mood. Chapter 975. Atlas Studios by D. Tian. What are you doing? Yao Tian Shang shouted from afar. By D. Tian? Meng San Sheng was shocked. Meng San Sheng is the grandfather of the Empress of Great Zhen. I am here on the orders of Great Zhen to save Meng San Sheng. Bai Diqian immediately made his intentions clear. Boom! Bai Diqian struck out with his palm, causing the void to tremble. The two of them, who were originally glued to each other, suddenly separated. The group of great demons surrounded Yao Tianshang. Meng Sansheng was panting as he looked at Yao Tianshang coldly. Bai Diqian was in the middle of them, and the three of them formed a triangle as they looked at each other coldly. Bai Diqian had saved Meng Sansheng, but Meng Sansheng was not grateful to Bai Diqian. He knew how precious the primordial gourd was, and he was also worried that Bai Diqian was here to snatch it. Swish! Yin Chuan, Lu Jin, Feng Yinyang, Meng Hongying, and Ninth Rat immediately flew over. The group of great demons also flew behind Yao Tianshang. Grandfather! Meng Hongying flew over worriedly. Saint Lord! Ninth Rat also flew over. Bai Diqian slowly retreated behind Yin Chuan. At this moment, Meng Sansheng looked at Yin Chuan seriously. At the same time, he understood that not only had he misjudged Yao Tianshang, but he had misjudged Yin Chuan as well. Yin Chuan, what are you trying to do? Yao Tianshang narrowed his eyes and asked in a low voice. Yin Chuan smiled and said in a deep voice, "My wife, Zizi." Although Meng Sansheng did not take care of Zizi in the past, he is still Zizi's grandfather. I have to interfere. Ha 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 ha, interfere? I think you're also interested in his primordial gourd. Don't tell me you have not thought about it. Yao Tianshang laughed coldly. Meng Sansheng narrowed his eyes. Who doesn't like treasures in the world? However, I am different from you. There are some things that can be done, and some things that cannot be done. Meng Sansheng, if you are willing to stay, I will help you to chase Yao Tianshang away. If you're not willing to stay, then leave. I will help you to stop Yao Tianshang, Yin Chuan said solemnly. In Yao Tianshang's face, Yin did not want to obtain the primordial gourd. Meng Sansheng looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. But Meng Sansheng still took a deep breath and said, "Then I'll be leaving first. See you, Xia Meng Tianmeng." Meng Sansheng looked at Yin Chuan with a complicated expression. Hong Ying, ninth rat, let's go. Meng Sansheng swung the grand mist gourd, stepped on it, and quickly flew away. Meng's Meng Yao 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 Yao. Who? Yin Chuan and the others immediately stood in front of Yao Tianshang. Demon Yao, Shun Tian 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 Ming, Yu Tian Tian, Shun Tian Ming Ming. By Di Tian, Lu Jin, and Feng Yinyang were all accumulating their power and waiting for Yin Chuan's command. Yao Tianshang stared at Yin Chuan. His eyes flashed with irritation. All the great beasts gathered their auras. Once Yao Tianshang gave the order, they would attack. The two sides looked at each other. Their battle-intent soared, but no one took a step forward. Meng Sansheng, who had flown far away, turned around. When he saw Yin Chuan blocking in front of Yao Tianshang, he raised his eyebrows. Although Meng Sansheng was confused, he did not stop. His injuries from fighting a mystic immortal were too severe. He had to go back and recuperate. Yin Chuan and Yao Tianshang looked at each other coldly. Yao Tianshang could tell that Yin Chuan was determined to stop him. Did he really not want the primordial gourd? The great beasts behind him were getting stronger. They were waiting for Yao Tianshang's order. Ha ha, Yin Chuan. The first time I fought with the ancient moon holy child in sound technique, you ruined it. I knew you were extraordinary, but today I realized that I still underestimated you. You didn't even move in the face of such a precious treasure. Yao Tianshang said with a dark expression. I said that he is my wife's ancestor. Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Yao Tianshang smiled coldly. Your wife's ancestor? Do you think I will believe you? You don't care about the primordial gourd. This means that you have greater ambitions. You are only so bold because of your greater ambitions. Thank you. You flatter me. Yin Chuan said casually. You know very well whether you flatter me or not. Let's go. Yao Tianshang said coldly. The demon emperor is leaving just like that? All the great beasts were shocked. However, Yao Tianshang did not care. He waved his sleeves and walked away. When the group of great demons saw this, they glared at Yin Chuan angrily before leaving with Yao Tianshang. Why did Yao Tianshang leave just like that? Lu Jin was confused. A battle without benefits is the stupidest battle. Moreover, we still have to go to the archaic mysteries sect. Yao Tianshang does not want to suffer any injuries here. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and explained. Lu Jin nodded. She finally understood. Watching the two parties leave, Yin Chuan's heart was at ease. In this battle, it seemed like he was the only one who benefited. Feng Yinyang, since he had become the leader of the northern sect, moved the northern sect back to Great Jun as soon as possible. Yin Chuan looked at Feng Yinyang and said, Yes, I just wanted to say that I have just received the Phantom Valley's inheritance and need some time to cultivate. I might not be able to follow your majesty to the archaic mysteries sect. Feng Yinyang sighed. Since that is the case, you can stay here. After you control the northern sect, you can return to Great Jun. Yin Chuan looked at Feng Yinyang and said, Yes. Feng Yinyang replied, Let's go. Yin Chuan said. Bai Ditian and Lu Jin nodded. The three of them flew towards the north again. Above the blue sky, Meng Sansheng flew quickly with Ren Rat and Meng Hongying. Meng Sansheng sat on the Hongmeng gourd and meditated for a while before opening his eyes. Grandfather, are we still going to the archaic mysteries sect? Meng Hongying asked. No, I am too tired from the battle with the Xian Immortal. I need to return to the divine world to recuperate. Meng Sansheng said. Holy Lord is right. What is the archaic mysteries sect? Holy Lord is someone who can kill Xian Immortals. Once Jing Ting leaves, Holy Lord will be the strongest in the mortal realm. That Yao Tianshang took advantage of the situation. Ren Rat complained. Meng Sansheng frowned and thought for a while before saying, Archaic mysteries sect? This time, all the heroes of the world have gathered. Ninth Rat, go and take a look for me. Ah, me? Ren Rat exclaimed. He looked unwilling. Yes, you. Meng Sansheng's face darkened. Okay. Ren Rat said gloomily. Swish. Meng Sansheng threw Ren Rat out. Meng Sansheng quickly left with Meng Hongying, leaving Ren Rat to look into the distance. Seeing Meng Sansheng leave, Ren Rat said sadly, Why was I so stupid to agree to join the archaic mystery sect for 1,000 years? I was so happy in the past. I dug up other people's ancestral graves, stole their treasuries, and destroyed their descendants. Now, for the sake of the archaic mysteries sect, I have to rush to my death. Alas, I only have one life. Ren Rat shook his head and sighed, Forget it. I don't have many years left. Once the time is up, I will be free. When that time comes, I will return to the immortal world. Damn it, I found an ancient great god's grave last time. I hope no one finds it. Chapter 976. Atlas Studios North Divine Continent Yin Chuan, Lu Jin, and Bai Ditian landed on the peak of a mountain. In front of them was a thick fog that covered an extremely wide area. The fog had many colors: purple, white, green, and green. It made the sea of fog look extremely dazzling and colorful. This is the archaic mysteries sect? Lu Jin frowned and asked. Don't underestimate this sea of fog. It is actually an extremely powerful fate array. Bai Ditian explained. Fate array. Lu Jin didn't understand. 1 is fate, 2 is fate, 3 is feng shui, 4 is yin virtue, and 5 is merit. The archaic mysteries sect cultivates fate. It is said that they have a deep understanding of fate. Their array can even directly connect to fate. Their array is known as the Fate Array. The archaic mysteries sect is the only sect in the world that cultivates fate. Their requirements for selecting disciples are even stricter than feng shui masters. Feng shui masters only look at the conditions of the current life, but fate cultivators have to compete for 3 lifetimes. They have to have a specific birthday and a specific bone structure. Not a single one can be missing. Bai Ditian explained. Compete for 3 lifetimes? Lu Jin was shocked. Of course, no one is so powerful that they can predict the past. However, legend has it that there is a world tree in the celestial world. The world tree has existed since the world was formed. The world tree has experienced everything in the world and also recorded everything in the world. Fate cultivators only need to borrow a branch from the world tree to predict many things in the past. Every disciple that cultivates fate cultivators are selected through the world tree's branches. Bai Ditian explained. World tree. Lu Jin was shocked. Can the world tree really predict the past life? Yin Chuan looked at Bai Ditian. Bai Ditian nodded and said yes. In my previous life, I met the sect leader of the archaic mysteries sect. By chance, he helped me predict some things. Although it wasn't comprehensive, it still benefited me greatly. The archaic mysteries sect has a branch from the world tree? Yin Chuan was shocked. Even in his previous life, he had only heard about it. It was said that in the celestial world, the world tree was protected by all the heroes of the world. Anyone who dared to break its branches would be punished by all the celestial world. Yes, the celestial arcanum sect has one. However, I have to hold it with my hand before it can help me deduce the future. This is the Celestial Arcanum sect head's token of inheritance. It is the Celestial Arcanum sect's most important treasure. It can help me deduce the situation in my previous life. Baiditian nodded with certainty. Furthermore, Baiditian condensed his dermic powers, and an illusion appeared in Baiditian's palm. It was a yellow wooden stake that was as thick as an arm. It was filled with runes. Yin Chuan and Lu Jin widened their eyes in bewilderment. This is the branch of the world tree, the number one treasure of the Celestial Arcanum sect. Baiditian said proudly. Yin Chuan and Lu Jin were still at a loss. Is this the branch of the world tree? Yin Chuan asked with a strange tone. Yeah, I can't be wrong. It's the Celestial Arcanum sect head's keepsake. Baiditian nodded with certainty. Yin Chuan and Lu Jin were silent for a while. Everyone was silent. Your Majesty, what's wrong? Baiditian asked in confusion. Finally, Yin Chuan nodded at Lu Jin. Lu Jin casually took out a yellow wooden stake from her interspatial artifact. The runes on the wooden stake were exactly the same as the one that Baiditian had condensed using his dermic powers. Baiditian, oh, it was too fake. Baiditian really wanted to say that it was fake. However, in this short moment, there was no time for Lu Jin to make a fake. It was exactly the same. The number one treasure of the Celestial Arcanum sect? The branch of the world tree? Why was it in Lu Jin's hands? How is this possible? Chapter 977. Baiditian felt honored that he was the only person who had seen the branch of the world tree. But now Lu Jin took one out like a radish. How can this be? How did this come about? Baiditian exclaimed. One of the things my parents left behind for me. Yin Chuan explained. Things left behind? Back then, Yin Tao had left behind 3 things for Yin Chuan. One was a map, which allowed him to find the Holy Light Stone and forge the God Sword. Now, the second thing was the Celestial Mysteries sect leader's token. Things left behind? Baiditian was slightly confused. Was this a joke? The Celestial Mysteries sect leader's token was the lifeblood of the Celestial Mysteries sect. How could it be in Yin Tao's hands? Looking at Baiditian's complicated gaze, Yin Chuan said, Lu Jin, let Baiditian take a look. It's nothing much. Oh, Lu Jin handed it over. Baiditian received it carefully, his entire body petrified. Amidst the endless colorful fog, there was a huge palace. Inside the palace, a white-haired elder sat cross-legged as if he was in seclusion. Suddenly, the elder raised his eyebrows and opened his eyes, revealing an extremely shocked expression. Whoosh! The elder suddenly stood up. Quang! The door to the palace opened. Another 3 white-haired elders hurried in. Senior brother, can you feel it? The 3 old men asked excitedly. That's right. It's the Celestial Mysteries sect leader's token. The previous sect leader had fallen, and the whereabouts of our World Tree branch were unknown. We sent so many people to search for it, and calculated for so many years, but to no avail. It actually appeared near our Celestial Mysteries sect. Let's go. The leading elder rushed out of the palace excitedly. The other 3 elders also rushed out excitedly and flew into the depths of the fog. At this moment, not only did the 4 elders feel it, but about 100 people in the Celestial Mysteries sect also felt it. They all flew into the sky excitedly, including Heavenly Lady Zhao Afong. Baiditian grabbed the World Tree's branch and inspected it in a daze. Lu Jin looked at Yin Chuan and said, Your Majesty, aren't we here too early? There are still a few months before it starts. Yin Chuan shook his head lightly and said, It's not early. We still have things to do. Yes. Lu Jin nodded. After saying that, the 2 of them looked at Baiditian. Baiditian, how is it? Is this true? Yin Chuan asked. It's true, it's definitely true. Baiditian said in confusion. As long as it's a branch of the world tree. Yin Chuan smiled. Boom. Suddenly, the fog not far away shook, and in the blink of an eye, over 100 figures suddenly appeared in front of Yin Chuan's group. Almost everyone turned their gazes to Baiditian's hands after looking at the 3 of them for a while. Is it really a world branch? The leading old man asked excitedly. The group of elders at the front looked very excited. It was as if they couldn't wait to snatch it. Bai Detian's expression changed, and he immediately kept the world branch. Bai Detian knew that this was definitely the Celestial Mysteries sect's token, but he wasn't a good person. Now, this world branch belonged to Yin Chuan. Naturally, he had to protect it well. However, Yin Chuan looked at Heavenly Lady Zhao Afong. He was very excited. Bai Detian, long time no see. The leading old man immediately smiled politely. Bai Detian smiled and said, "Greetings to the Celestial Mysteries sect leader. Bai Detian, in your hand." The leading old man said excitedly, but he was interrupted by Bai Detian. Chapter 978. This item in my hand belongs to him. It's the private property of the great Zhun Emperor. Bai Detian said immediately. The moment Bai Detian said this, the leading elder instantly understood and immediately looked at Yin Chuan. "I'm the current sect master of the Archaic Mysteries sect, Yin Xian." "Greetings, Yin Di," the old man said politely. Clearly, he had seen Yin Chuan's portrait and recognized him immediately. "I've heard a lot about the Archaic Mysteries sect. Sect Master Yin, you're too polite." Yin Chuan smiled. The old man smiled and asked, "Yin Di, where did you get the item in Bai Detian's hand?" Yin Chuan looked at the world branch and smiled. "It's something my father left behind." "Left behind?" The Archaic Mysteries sect disciples frowned. "How did your father get this item?" Yin Xian asked again. "My father picked it up and brought it here." Yin Chuan smiled. "Picked it up?" Yin Xian and the others frowned again. How were they supposed to continue asking? Yin Chuan obviously wouldn't tell them the truth. Seeing how troubled they were, Yin Chuan smiled. "Yin Di, this item is called the World Branch. It's a keepsake of the sect master of the Archaic Mysteries sect. It belonged to the previous sect master, Yin Yi." Yin Xian said immediately. "Sect Master Yin, you misunderstood. It's mine, not the Archaic Mysteries sect's." Yin Chuan interrupted. "How dare you? That belongs to the Archaic Mysteries sect. You thieves." The disciples behind Yin Xian shouted angrily. Yin Chuan's face turned cold. Yin Xian waved her hand and stopped them from shouting. She turned around and said, "Yin Di, please don't blame me for not disciplining them well." Only then did Yin Chuan's expression soften. "Yin Di, only fate stealers like us can use this item. Others can't use it at all." Yin Xian said again. Yin Chuan smiled. "I like collecting. Sect Master Yin, please don't think about it." "Don't think about it? How is that possible?" "Yin Di, this is indeed the world branch of my Archaic Mysteries sect. Bai Detian can testify. It was accidentally lost by the previous Celestial Arcanum sect head." The old man smiled bitterly. Yin Chuan nodded his head and said, "I understand, and I also believe in it. However, the Celestial Arcanum sect was lost in the end. It's like you accidentally found an immortal equipment in a desolate mountain forest. Would you find a descendant of the owner of the immortal equipment and give it to him? Are all of you so noble?" "Everyone." Yin Xian smiled bitterly. "Yama Emperor, this world's branch is extremely important to my Heaven's Mysteries sect, so please accept it. Of course, if there's anything you need, as long as it doesn't go against the beliefs and principles of my Heaven's Mysteries sect, we will do our best to satisfy you." Everyone looked at Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan was silent for a moment. Finally, he took a deep breath and nodded. "It's not that I can't give the world branch to the Archaic Arcanum sect, but as long as you agree to my 2 conditions, I'll give you the world branch with both hands." Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said. Everyone was overjoyed. "There's one thing I have to ask for your forgiveness. My Heaven's God creation plan cannot be compromised because of this." Yin Xian said with a frown. "Don't worry, I won't go against your beliefs and principles." Yin Chuan nodded. "Yin Di is righteous." Yin Xian smiled. "First, I hope that before the God creation plan starts, I can stay near the Heavenly Lady and have her sit and discuss the Tao with me for a few months." Yin Chuan said solemnly. "Sit and discuss the Tao?" Everyone looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. "Yes, I won't harass the Heavenly Lady. I just want her to listen to some stories." Even if it's just for 2 hours a day, it's fine. Yin Chuan looked at the heavenly lady and said, Stories. The Fate Usurpers. Chapter 979. Tell stories? The Fate Usurpers looked at Yin Chuan blankly. What kind of condition was that? Listen to your stories for a few months? The Fate Usurpers became excited again. Then they looked at Zhao Afong. Holy Maiden, the branch of the world is no small matter. You know that even in the immortal world, our archaic arcanum sect only has a few branches. Yin Xian looked at Zhao Afong expectantly. Zhao Afong was silent for a while, then finally nodded under everyone's expectant gaze. All right, thank you, Holy Maiden, Yin Xian said excitedly. Yin Chuan, on the other hand, smiled in satisfaction. Yin Di, the Holy Maiden has already agreed to the first condition. Tell us the second one. Yin Xian said again. I haven't thought of the second condition yet. Can you let me think about it? Yin Chuan smiled. Oh. The Fate Usurpers raised their eyebrows. Of course, before the God creation plan starts, I will definitely say it. And at that time, I will hand over the branch of the world with both hands. Yin Chuan smiled. The Fate Usurpers frowned. In the end, they nodded. Several days later, in the sea of fog, in an extremely exquisite pavilion, on a balcony of the pavilion, several maids were waiting on a jade table in the center. Yin Chuan and Zhao Afong were drinking tea. Yin Di, I've already said that I'm not Zhenro, and I've also gained enlightenment about my previous life. I know who my previous life was, and I'm definitely not Zhenro. Zhao Afong said as he drank tea. Yin Chuan smiled and said, Do you know, although you can't see, your clear appearance is exactly the same as Zhenro's back then. Zhao Afong frowned. Don't worry. I won't force you to admit it. I just want to tell you how I met Zhenro during this time. Yin Chuan smiled. Only then did Zhao Afong relax. Do I look like Zhenro? Zhao Afong asked curiously. Dongfang Zhengpai has already told me that you used mind reading on me, right? Yin Chuan smiled. Zhao Afong frowned. Apparently, he did not expect Dongfang Zhengpai to betray him. But in the end, he nodded and said, That's right. That day, I saw that you were chasing me in a hurry and spread news about me everywhere. So, I came back to find you. But at that time, you were already unconscious, so I had no choice. Seeing Zhao Afong's guilt, Yin Chuan did not blame him. If you can see Zhenro's appearance in my heart, then you will know that your appearance is exactly the same. Even the number and position of your eyebrows are exactly the same. Is there really such a thing in the world? Zhao Afong asked in surprise. Zhao Afong didn't believe that she was Zhenro, but Yin Chuan firmly believed that she was Zhenro. As the two of them chatted, Yin Chuan began to describe everything about Zhenro from the beginning. Just like that, Yin Chuan began to talk about everything about Zhenro every day. Every day, he would talk about different things. It was as if as long as Yin Chuan spoke, there would be endless stories. East Divine Continent, Jiulu Academy. At the entrance to the Radiant World, Meng Lingtian looked at the blue-robed man in front of him. Sima Yuntian. It was Sima Yuntian, who had competed with Yin Chuan in the investiture of the gods during the Heavenly Bestowment Conference. At this moment, 72 disciples stood behind Sima Yuntian. Compared to decades ago, each of them was much more refined, and their auras were much more stable. Sima Yuntian was still as heroic as before. Just this aura alone was like a sharp blade that could cut through all obstacles. He was incomparably domineering as he coldly looked at Meng Lingtian. Chapter 980. Dongfang Zhengpai stood to the side. Old Meng, I found Sima Yuntian. Haha, Old Meng, don't stop me now. Dongfang Zhengpai said excitedly. Meng Lingtian looked at Dongfang Zhengpai and smiled bitterly. Finally, he nodded. Forget it. Rotten wood can't be carved. I won't care about you anymore. Oh, Old Meng, today I realize that you're really too kind. Your words are like the sun, warming my heart and lungs. Dongfang Zhengpai said in a mushy manner. Meng Lingtian's face twitched. Finally, he said, Shut up. If you continue, go back and copy books. Dong Fangzhengpai's face turned serious. It was as if he hadn't spoken at all. Mengling Tian? Sima Yuntian frowned at the Immortal in front of him. The 72 disciples behind him also looked at the Immortal in front of them in shock. Sima Yuntian, we finally meet. Your literary style is amazing. Even I can't compare to you, Mengling Tian exclaimed. Sima Yuntian smiled and said confidently, Mengling Tian, you didn't call me back just to say this, right? Of course not. Mengling Tian shook his head. Oh, back then, the founder, Dongfang Bubai, found your ancestor somewhere and asked the Julu Academy to take care of the Sima descendants. At the same time, he left you a secret letter from your ancestor. Mengling Tian said. My ancestor's secret letter? Ha! Sima Yun Tian said in disbelief. How could his ancestor know about him? I know you don't believe me and have a grudge against the Julu Academy. However, although the Julu Academy restricted you, they still taught you everything about the Sima family. Furthermore, the founder said that after reading your ancestor's letter, your grudge will disappear. Mengling Tian said, my ancestor wrote a letter to me? How do you expect me to believe that? Sima Yun Tian said, your Sima family has always been the sole heir. The founder left a message in the Radiant World. When it's the 49th generation of the Sima family, he can leave it to you, Mengling Tian said. Mengling Tian took out a jade box. Looking at the box, Sima Yun Tian felt a connection with it. How could this be? This jade box can only be opened with the blood and will of a Sima family disciple. Outsiders can't open it at all. Mengling Tian laughed. Sima Yun Tian frowned. He no longer looked at the jade box, but at Mengling Tian. Since it was left to me by my ancestor, you should have given it to me a long time ago. But you delayed it until now? Are you going to use it to return the terms to me? Sima Yun Tian asked solemnly. Mengling Tian nodded his head in satisfaction. Sima Yun Tian, you are indeed worthy of being Julu Academy's #1 mortal sage. Sima Yun Tian looked at Mengling Tian with rapt attention. The world is about to fall into chaos. The Northern Celestial Arcanum sect can also see that a huge storm is about to engulf the entire sealed world. A great calamity is about to befall this world. Mengling Tian said in a deep voice. Great tribulation? Sima Yun Tian narrowed his eyes. Yes, the great calamity. Under the great calamity, the archaic Arcanum sect, the Julu Academy, the archaic sects, the sacred grounds, and many other powerful sects will all be annihilated. Mengling Tian took a deep breath and said, Oh, Sima Yun Tian was surprised. If my Julu Academy wants to pass through this calamity, we must plan thoroughly. I have thought about it for a long time. The Julu Academy should focus on defending the East Divine Continent. With me in charge of the Julu Academy, I hope that you can represent the Julu Academy and enter the Great Jin Empire. Everything should be done with the Julu Academy first. Mengling Tian said solemnly. Chapter 981. Haha, enter the Dajin Empire? You want me to be a spy? Sima Yun Tian showed a trace of disdain. Something like that. The Great Jin Empire is rather strange. Although I'm not afraid of it, I'm not willing to destroy it. This is because the stronger the sect, the more likely it is to control the fate of the East Divine Continent. Mengling Tian said solemnly. I remember that Meng Wenruo is your grandson. Isn't he in the Dajin Empire? Sima Yun Tian sneered. Yes, but Meng Wenruo is not comparable to Yin Chuan. Moreover, Meng Wenruo's heart is with the Dajin Empire. Mengling Tian shook his head. Sima Yun Tian sneered and did not say anything else. I will try my best to get you the position of Prime Minister in the Dajin Empire. How about that? Mengling Tian smiled. Prime Minister? Such a high position? What does that have to do with me? Sima Yun Tian sneered. That's the condition. I can show you the jade box. You can tell me if the letter is worth the price after you read it. How about that? Mengling Tian smiled. Sima Yun Tian narrowed his eyes. He took the jade box calmly. Looking at the restriction on it, it was true that this restriction required his blood and will to be activated. He forced out a trace of essence blood and dyed the seal red. At the same time, he sent his consciousness into the jade box, and it shook violently. Whoosh! The jade box opened. Is this really left behind by my ancestor? Sima Yuntian looked at it in shock. This was because something that required essence blood and what could only be refined by an ancestor of the same bloodline. There was a letter in the jade box. Sima Yuntian took it out. Meng Lingtian looked at the letter curiously, but Sima Yuntian did not show it to him. Sima Yuntian kept the jade box and looked at the letter. The words to Sima Yuntian were written on the cover. This is my handwriting? My own handwriting? Sima Yuntian's expression changed. Oh, Meng Lingtian looked at it curiously. Sima Yuntian's eyes flickered, but he opened it in the end. At the same time, he cast a spell and formed a green mist around him to prevent others from seeing the contents of the letter. When he opened a letter, Sima Yuntian was shocked. I have a special hobby. No matter what I write, when I write the fourth word, I will leave a mark that no one will notice. But the letter in front of him had it as well. Sima Yuntian frowned as he read. 49th generation? Haha. To be more precise, you should be the 49th reincarnation of my current state. In your generation, I should have reincarnated 81 times. Don't doubt it. I am you, and you are me. The Sima clan has only one heir in every generation, and when the only heir is born, the elders don't have long to live. This was inevitable, because after so many generations, it was actually me who was reincarnating. When my son was born and had enough memories, the father would die, and the power of the soul would accumulate in my son's body. I'm a special case, because in my first life, I put a strange curse on myself. In this life, I am a fate usurper. I have divined many things, but it is still not comprehensive enough. I deduced that I had an extremely powerful first life, but I have an even stronger enemy, and I am also waiting for an extremely important person. Actually, my surname is not Sima, and your surname is not Sima either. We just used a fake surname to blend into the masses. According to my calculations, in my 81st life, I will meet the person I am waiting for. I don't know who I am waiting for, but you will know when the time comes. Also, remember, from the first life, we did not believe in Sima. I have divined that our first life was surnamed Li Si. I am Li Si, and you are Li Si. The contents of the letter were very long, but when he read till here, Sima Tian was stunned. Who is Li Si? How did I become Li Si? Chapter 982. North Divine Continent. Not far from the archaic mysteries sect, a stream of light flashed across the west. Rumbling sounds could be heard as more than 300 draconic horses pulled a group of experts over. One of them was the dignified Kong Mok, and the other was the dean of the Western Confucius Academy, Kong Daoqiu. Kong Mok was clad in golden chainmail, and he looked extremely mighty. On the other hand, Kong Daoqiu was clad in white and exuded a faint aura of righteousness. Although he looked calm, there was a hint of ruthlessness in his eyes. Stop! Kong Mok bellowed. The 300 draconic horses suddenly stopped at the peak of a mountain. Kong Mok and Kong Daoqiu landed on a mountain peak. There are still 2 months before it starts. I'll go find you next time first. It's been a long time since we played chess. I'll help you ask about the situation. Kong Daoqiu said lightly. Kong Mok nodded and said, All right, I have some personal matters to attend to. The two separated, and Kong Daoqiu headed straight for the archaic mysteries sect. Kong Mok and the rest of his men turned their horses around and rode in another direction. 10 days later, not far from the archaic mysteries sect, in a valley, Ninth Rat was lying on a deck chair with a palm leaf fan in his hand. In front of him was a large group of rats that he had just summoned. Although Ninth Rat had just entered the upper emptiness realm, he was extremely sensitive to news due to his fearful nature. As he lay down leisurely, the large group of rats in front of him quickly reported to him what had happened. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Thousands of rats kept reporting to this ancestor of unknown origin what they had seen during this period of time. Ninth rat fanned himself with his palm leaf fan while pinching the rat's beard. His eyes kept darting around. Wait, you said that a group of monks were guarding a valley outside the Ning Shui Palace and killed a large number of your descendants? Ninth rat suddenly pointed at a large rat and asked. The rat seemed to have some experience and immediately nodded. Monks? The North Divine Continent doesn't produce monks. Could it be the Thousand Buddhas' holy ground? And the Ning Shui Palace? The palace master of the condensed jade palace, Ma Daoquan, seems to have a blood feud with the 10,000 Buddhas' holy land. Ren Rat's expression changed. The rat jumped up and down and kept telling the rat about the valley. Ren Rat's eyes gradually came to life. You said that the valley is radiating golden light? Could it be a treasure? That's right. I don't want to participate in that bullshit God creation plan anyway. There's still nearly 2 months left, so I might as well go and take a look. Who knows? I might even be able to steal something while I'm at it. Kikik. Ren Rat jumped up from the recliner. With a wave of his hand, he chased away the group of rats, leaving only the rat that had discovered the monk. After tidying up a bit, Ren Rat said, "Let's go. I'll go with you to take a look." 2 hours later, outside a valley, there were 10 bald monks standing outside. They stood guard in all directions, not allowing any living beings to approach. Furthermore, the entire valley was enveloped by a large number of formations, isolating it from the outside world. In a distant mountain forest, Ninth Rat pinched its whiskers as its expression flickered. Sure enough, there's a situation. However, this formation is not a problem for my rat race. When I reach the legendary realm, I can even drill a hole in the sky, let alone this lousy formation. Ninth Rat laughed. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The rat that was leading the way squeaked. Chapter 983. And not bad. This spirit stone is for you. Go. Ninth Rat tossed a spirit stone to the little rat and chased it away. The little rat thanked him profusely. Ninth Rat glanced at it and dived into the ground, drilling into the valley. Perhaps it was due to its innate talent. Ninth Rat drilled into the array without any abnormalities. Ninth Rat continued to drill into the depths of the valley. Finally, Ninth Rat drilled into a bush in the valley and revealed a hole. Ninth Rat looked inside. There was a waterfall in the valley, and the water was deep and serene. The environment was extremely beautiful. Beside the waterfall was a huge pavilion. There were close to 300 people surrounding the pavilion. In the pavilion, Kong Mok sat on the main seat, and a group of subordinates stood behind him. There were soldiers, scholars, and even monks. Sitting beside Kong Mok was a man in a green robe. Ma Daoquan of Ning Shui Palace? Didn't Kong Mok kill Ma Daoquan's son? Don't the two of them have an irreconcilable enmity? Ninth Rat looked at the scene in front of him in shock. Ma Daoquan, you've said so much. In short, you've worked hard these past few years. Kong Mok smiled. Many thanks for your majesty's kindness. This subject has been undercover in the North Divine Continent all these years, waiting for your majesty's great cause so that I can respond to your majesty and contribute to your majesty's unification of the world. Ma Daoquan smiled. Ha. You've done well. This emperor is about to unify the world, and your Ning Shui Palace has established a foothold in the North Divine Continent. You'll definitely be able to help this emperor. You'll be the main contributor to the conquest of the North Divine Continent. Kong Mok laughed. Many thanks, your majesty. Ma Daoquan smiled. This time, many heroes have gathered here. This emperor needs to subdue a group of true heroes. Do you have any information on them? Kong Mok asked solemnly. Time is tight, so I can't collect much. Moreover, many heroes are still on the way. Ma Daoquan frowned. No matter, you don't need to collect. This emperor brought over 300 subjects here. Naturally, this emperor is not here for sightseeing. What you need to do now is to help this emperor win the competition and subdue the Celestial Arcanum sect. This is the most important task. Kong Mok said solemnly. Yes, Ma Daoquan. In the distance, Ninth Rat, who was peeking out from the bushes, opened its mouth in shock. Ma Daocoin is a chess piece sent by Kong Mok to the northern divine continent? Not an enemy? Rin Rat looked at this scene in surprise. Who's there? Kong Yamo Ku's eyes narrowed, and he reached out to grab Huang Xiaolong. A huge golden claw appeared in the void and smashed into where Ninth Rat was. Ah! Ninth Rat screamed miserably and went underground. Boom! A huge crater appeared on the ground. There was also a pool of blood. However, the Ninth Rat was nowhere to be seen. A group of experts immediately gathered around. Earth escape. The faces of the cultivators darkened. Earth escape was not something that all Xiozhi could do. Although Kong Mok was strong, he was not good at earth escape. Amateus Buddha. A monk behind Kong Mok shouted, Prophet Buddha, you have collected the information of heaven and earth. Where did that thief escape to? Kong Imoka shouted, Your Majesty, he went east, and he escaped very quickly. Just now, Your Majesty's claw injured him. I believe that his cultivation is not something to be afraid of. Your Majesty does not need to worry. This subject will go and handle this matter for Your Majesty. Prophet Buddha said, and Kong Mok nodded. Prophet Buddha flicked his kasaya and rushed to the sky, flying towards the east. Chapter 984. 3 days later, somewhere in the forest. Boom! A large number of rocks were sent flying as Prophet Buddha stepped on Ninth Rat's shoulder with a black Buddhist commandment blade in his hand. Cough, cough, don't do it. I am the temple master of the divine sect Holy Land. Ninth Rat immediately begged for mercy. Prophet Buddha frowned slightly. You are Ninth Rat? Prophet Buddha asked in surprise. Letting go of Ninth Rat, Prophet Buddha said in a deep voice, Temple Master Ninth, you have good means. Your unique skill in digging holes is unparalleled in the world. There were a few times when I almost lost you with my heaven and earth scavenger. Ninth Rat covered his thigh where blood was flowing out and quickly treated it. Damn it. If it weren't for Kong Mok, that son of a bitch, how could you find me? Ninth Rat was depressed. Prophet Buddha naturally didn't know what Ninth Rat was thinking, but he was in a difficult situation. If he didn't know Ninth Rat, he could just kill him and report back. But now, he had to consider the divine sect Holy Land. Prophet Buddha's eyes turned, and he suddenly smiled. Ninth Rat, what do you think of my 1,000 Buddha Holy Land? 1,000 Buddha Holy Land? What's wrong? Isn't it the same as the divine sect Holy Land? Ninth Rat endured the pain and frowned. Yes, it's the same. I remember that you just joined the divine sect Holy Land not long ago. The temple masters of the divine sect Holy Land are free to come and go. I see that you have a deep affinity with Buddhism and fate with my 1,000 Buddha Holy Land. Prophet Buddha said with a smile. Me? Fate with Buddhism? Ninth Rat was surprised. At the same time, a strange thought appeared in his mind. Fate my ass. I have dug dozens of Buddha's graves. Yes, why don't you join my 1,000 Buddha Holy Land? I can guarantee that the Holy Lord will agree to let you enjoy the Buddha karmic rank. Prophet Buddha said with a smile. What kind of joke is this? Go to your 1,000 Buddha Holy Land and be a bachelor? I still want to build a large harem. Ninth Rat immediately refused. Fellow Taoist Ninth, you are the leader of all evil. Prophet Buddha advised. Ninth Rat. Holding his injured balls, Hydra Rat wished he could slap the Prophet Buddha, who was afraid of death. If you don't join my 10,000 Buddha's holy ground, I won't be able to answer to the great Buddha Emperor. It would be a great pity if fellow Taoist Run were to perish here in this wilderness. In fact, the great Buddha Emperor quite admires your ability to escape through the earth. The Prophet Buddha said slowly. This was a threat to Ninth Rat. If they didn't submit to the 10,000 Buddha's holy ground, they would die. Rin Rat's face twitched, and he shouted, I don't want to be a monk. If I join the great Buddha imperial dynasty, can I marry and have children? Ha ha, fellow Taoist Run, you are indeed an outstanding person. Let's go. I will bring you to meet His Majesty. The Prophet Buddha immediately said with satisfaction, Wait a moment. My injuries are too severe. I need to be treated immediately. If there are any sequelae, it would be terrible. Ninth rat tried to delay. All right. Prophet Buddha waited for ninth rat to heal. Half a day later, while ninth rat was recuperating, he was also trying to get close to Prophet Buddha. In the blink of an eye, the two of them were talking about everything. Is it done? Prophet Buddha asked with a frown. Lead the way. Run, rat shouted. Ha, good. Prophet Buddha flew up and led the way for ninth rat. Boom. A loud sound came from underground. Ninth rat dug a hole and escaped again. Prophet Buddha was stunned. Bastard, you dare to lie to me? Prophet Buddha shouted angrily. Deep underground, ninth rat was digging a hole and escaping while cursing. Lie to your grandmother. You almost killed me, and now you want me to submit? Wait until I recover. I will definitely teach you a lesson. I have never suffered such a great loss before. Damn it, I will pay you back 10 times. Ouch. Ninth rat was still digging a hole in the ground in pain. Chapter 985. Niobo Studio Celestial Arcanum Sect, Misty Sea, Fairy Palace. Yin Chuan, Lu Jin, and Bai Ditian were staying in the side halls of the Fairy Palace. In one of the halls, Yin Chuan was receiving a special guest. A guest who was looking for him. Dongfang Zhenpai. Yin Chuan did not summon Lu Jin and Bai Ditian. Instead, he looked at the chubby Dongfang Zhenpai with amusement. The two of them were drinking tea. This tea tastes terrible. However, it contains a lot of yuan qi. Dongfang Zhenpai frowned as he looked at the tea. Everyone likes it. However, I am curious. How did you find me? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Elder Meng, Meng Lingtian, brought me and Sima Yuntian here. We were at the main hall of the Celestial Arcanum Sect when we found out that you were here. The others were playing chess with sect leader Yun and were talking nonsense. I was bored and decided to look for you. Dongfang Zhenpai said. Oh, Meng Lingtian, Sima Yuntian? Why are they here? Yin Chuan frowned. This has something to do with you. Dongfang Zhenpai laughed. Don't tell me you're helping Meng Lingtian to persuade him. Yin Chuan took a sip of tea and laughed. Aha, you can tell. Even if you can, I'm just a scout. You can decide for yourself if you are willing. Dongfang Zhenpai laughed. Oh, it's like this. Some time ago, Meng Lingtian persuaded Sima Yuntian to enter your Great Jun. Of course, Elder Meng has his own motives. He hopes that Sima Yuntian can enter your Great Jun and take care of the Jilu Academy. It seems like there's going to be a great calamity. Dongfang Zhenpai did not hide anything from Yin Chuan. Great calamity? Yin Chuan's expression changed. What do you think? Dongfang Zhenpai asked. Ha. Sima Yuntian entering the Great Jin Empire? No matter what the reason is, I can't wait. Yin Chuan laughed. Aren't you worried about Sima Yuntian's motive for coming here? Dongfang Zhenpai asked. This is not what I should be worried about. On the contrary, this should be what Meng Lingtian should be worried about. Yin Chuan smiled. Dongfang Zhenpai was even more confused. You're not worried? That's exactly what I want. Why should I be worried? Meng Lingtian also said that he would do his best to cooperate with Sima Yuntian so that he could become the Prime Minister of Dejun as soon as possible. Prime Minister, Dongfang Zhenpai said. Prime Minister? According to the rules and regulations of the Great Jin Empire, one must have great achievements to become the Prime Minister. If that's the case, what's wrong with giving him the position of Prime Minister? Yin Chuan said with a smile. Dongfang Zhenpai, why aren't you worried at all? Dongfang Zhenpai didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Originally, he thought that Yin Chuan would use all kinds of words to push and shove, but why did it seem like he was about to snatch it? Even if Sima Yuntian didn't come to me, I would have gone to him. Our Great Jin Empire is thirsty for talents. Now that there's a virtuous paragon willing to accept the position, how could I reject him? Yin Chuan smiled. All right. Anyway, I've done what I came to do. All right. I heard Sima Yuntian mention that he wants to change his name. To enter the Great Jun Empire, he wants to change his name along with his surname. How strange. Dongfang Zhenpai drank a mouthful of water and said, Change his name? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Change it to Li Si. I don't know anything else. Dongfang Zhengpai shook his head. Li Si. This name? Yin Chuan suddenly frowned and pondered. Chapter 986. Yin Chuan closed his eyes as if he was trying to capture that fleeting feeling. What's wrong? Dongfang Zhengpai asked. Nothing. I just feel that the name sounds familiar, but I've never heard of it before. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Oh, Dongfang Zhengpai did not think much of it. Oh right. Dongfang Zhengpai's eyes lit up. Why don't I join Great Zhen? Dongfang Zhengpai's eyes lit up. You? Yin Chuan was surprised. Yes, of course. Based on our relationship, don't work for me. It's best if you don't do anything. Of course, I won't join you. I'll be a junior if I join you. Dongfang Zhengpai exclaimed. Yin Chuan, don't do anything and still get a salary in Providence? Don't even worship the emperor? Do you want to support the emperor? Really? Really? Dongfang Zhengpai asked excitedly. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. All right, I'll create a new department for you. Don't do anything. You'll get a salary in Providence. But it won't be much. Haha, that's good. Don't worry. If there's anything I can solve, just let me know, and I'll do it for you. Dongfang Zhengpai said excitedly. All right. Yin Chuan nodded. All right, what's this department called? Dongfang Zhengpai asked shamelessly. Let's call it the Special Affairs Department. You'll be the head of the Special Affairs Department. Yin Chuan smiled. All right, that's interesting. All right, can I recruit subordinates? Dongfang Zhengpai asked excitedly. Sure, you can decide for yourself. Just don't recruit too many. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Of course, Yin Chuan did not care much about the Special Affairs Department. Dongfang Zhengpai had helped him a lot in the past. He would treat it as giving Dongfang Zhengpai some pocket money to return the favor. Anyway, it wouldn't cost him much spiritual stones or providence. Haha, all right. I'm the head of the Special Affairs Department of the Great Zhen Empire. Is there anything you need me to help you settle? Dongfang Zhengpai said smugly. No, Yin Chuan said directly. Think about it. This is possible. Think about anything. Dongfang Zhengpai wanted to continue that sense of accomplishment. Well, I really don't. Whatever you want to do, I'll leave it up to you. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Dongfang Zhengpai. No matter what, from today onwards, the Zhen had another department, the Special Affairs Division, a department that was looking for trouble. Tianji sect, south of the Misty Sea, in a valley with dense elemental energy of heaven and earth. There were some large halls in the valley. Kong Mok was looking at the information his subordinates had gathered from all over the place. Blood Seal sect, true self sect? Kong Mok looked at the information. Not far from Kong Mok, the Prophet Buddha felt bitter. Prophet, you're back? Kong Mok looked at Prophet Buddha and asked, Your Majesty, I'm incompetent. I let ninth rat escape. Prophet Buddha said bitterly. Ran away? If he ran away, then so be it. He's just a scoundrel. Kong Mok consoled. After all, the Prophet Buddha was one of Kong Mok's more important people. Thank you, Your Majesty. Prophet Buddha smiled bitterly. Your Majesty. An official from outside the hall entered. What's wrong? Kong Mok asked curiously. Just now, Palace Lord Ma Daoquan sent a letter. As he has to cooperate with Your Majesty, he can't come. The official handed over a letter. Chapter 987. Kong Mok read the letter. After a while, Kong Mok's pupils constricted. Yin Chuan brat. Kong Mok slammed the letter on the table. Pa! Kong Mok's eyes flashed with anger. Your Majesty, what's wrong? Prophet Buddha asked. Kong Mok handed over the letter. Prophet Buddha quickly skimmed through it. Yin Chuan. He's shameless enough to take a shortcut to the fairy palace? Prophet Buddha said in a low voice. There are two arbitrators in this election, the archaic arcanum sect master and the fairy. Yin Chuan is shameless enough to try to win the fairy's favor, taking the shortcut? Kong Mok said coldly. Your Majesty, what are your plans? My plans? If I want Yin Chuan dead. Kong Mok said coldly. Your Majesty is wise. This subject also thinks so. This Yin Chuan is growing too fast. He must be eliminated as soon as possible, Otherwise, he will become a huge threat. Even, Prophet Buddha said with a frown. Even what? Kong Mok said in a low voice. Your Majesty, do you still remember Kong Susu? Yin Chuan's mother, the woman who competed with you in the past? Prophet Buddha said. Kong Susu. So what? Kong Mok said in a low voice. Your Majesty, please forgive this subject's disrespect. The Kong family supports Your Majesty because of Kong Susu's defeat. However, that Yin Chuan is Kong Susu's flesh and blood. Half of his blood is from the Kong family. Your Majesty, this subject is worried that if Yin Chuan's performance is too outstanding, will the Kong family support for Your Majesty waver? Prophet Buddha said in a low voice. Kong Mok's mind buzzed. Then his eyes turned red. Pa! Kong Mok smashed the table beside him into pieces. Yin Chuan must die as soon as possible. Kong Mok said coldly. Your Majesty, once Yin Chuan convinces Zhao Afong, and I'm talking about once the archaic Arcanum sect executes the god-making plan on Yin Chuan, it will be difficult for Your Majesty to kill him. At that time, the Kong clan won't let you take action. Prophet Buddha said in a low voice. Kong Mok's breathing quickened. Get ready. Follow me immediately to kill Yin Chuan. Kong Imoku said coldly. Yes. The Prophet Buddha replied. Fairy Palace. Yin Chuan once again met with the Heavenly Maiden alone. They sipped tea and listened to Yin Chuan reminisce. These days, although the Heavenly Maiden couldn't see, her expression was warped by Yin Chuan's moving stories. Yin Chuan, your story is truly moving. Unfortunately, I am not Jinro. Zhao Afong shook his head and advised. Zhao Afong was worried that he would play the role of Jinro, so he changed the topic and told Yin Chuan to stop talking about his longing for Jinro. Yin Chuan looked at Zhao Afong and smiled bitterly. Although I know you don't have any memories of Jinro, I still want to tell you. Do you know why? Zhao Afong frowned. Because my intuition tells me that you are Jinro, Yin Chuan said with certainty. Indeed. Zhao Afong was a little angry. Yin Chuan immediately interrupted. Listen to me first. I won't force you to believe me, but this is my intuition. Please don't deny it. After saying so much, I actually have something I want to do. What is it? Zhao Afong frowned. Whether my intuition is wrong or not, it can be verified. The World Branch knows best whether we were husband and wife in our previous lives. If you really want to refute my idea, let the World Branch judge it. It has recorded everything in the past. I think you will use it. As long as it can verify whether we were husband and wife in our previous lives, I, Yin Chuan, will immediately turn around and leave. How about it? Yin Chuan said with a firm gaze. Chapter 988. Whether my intuition is wrong or not, it can be verified. The branch of the world knows best whether we were husband and wife in our past lives. If you really want to refute my idea, let the branch of the world decide. It has recorded everything in the past. I believe you will use it. As long as it can verify whether we were husband and wife in our past lives, I, Yin Chuan, will immediately turn around and leave. How about it? Yin Chuan said with a firm gaze. Looking at the branch of the world that Yin Chuan handed over, Zhao Afong frowned deeply. The atmosphere suddenly froze, and Zhao Afong fell silent. Yes, as long as the branch of the world investigated, the truth would be revealed. But at this moment, Zhao Afong hesitated. After interacting with Yin Chuan, Zhao Afong had mixed feelings. At this moment, Zhao Afong did not know what he was thinking. Did he hope that Yin Chuan was right? Or that Yin Chuan was wrong? You are the life usurper. Use the branch of the world. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said. Zhao Afong clenched his fist and trembled, but in the end, he did not accept it. Do you know? Zhao Afong suddenly recalled. What? I actually came from the Immortal realm. The Immortal realm also has a celestial Arcanum sect. This is just a branch. Zhao Afong took a deep breath and said. So what? Yin Chuan did not care. Zhao Afong smiled bitterly and said, I reincarnated with the memories of my past life. In my past life, I was a disciple of the Celestial Arcanum sect in the Immortal realm. That is why I could reach my current level in such a short time. Moreover, Once the God Creation Project begins, I will return. Yin Chuan frowned. These days, you have told me these stories. Actually, I already knew that your past life did not belong to this world. You should have reincarnated from the immortal realm. Zhao Afong asked. Does it matter? Yin Chuan frowned. Zhao Afong shook his head and said, yes, but the conditions for the God-making plan are harsh. The celestial arcanum sect of this world, for the sake of their stubbornness, can only support the primordial bloodline and soul of this world. In other words, even if your soul is from the celestial world, you are not qualified to participate in the God-making plan, even if you have the bloodline of this world. Oh, I don't really care about their God creation project. But if you use the world tree to infer that your soul came from the world of immortals, you will no longer have the right to participate in the God creation project. Yin Xin will discover it very soon, Zhao Afong said solemnly. Yin Chuan raised his eyebrows. If you persist, you will lose a great help, Zhao Afong said solemnly. At this point, Yin Chuan, who was standing by the side, laughed. What are you laughing at? Zhao Afong frowned. I'm happy because I realize that you're starting to believe me. You're starting to believe that you're Zhenro. Yin Chuan said, gratified. You. Zhao Afong raised his eyebrows in irritation. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said, I understand what you're saying, but so what? I, Yin Chuan, am not going to compromise for a God creation project. I still insist. I hope that you can activate this world tree and prove what I said. Zhao Afong fell silent again. Zhao Afong had his own beliefs. Or rather, the Celestial Arcanum sect had long instilled in Zhao Afong's mind. However, Yin Chuan's appearance had impacted this belief and even destroyed it. Zhao Afong felt extremely close to Yin Chuan during this period of time. It was an indescribable feeling, as if the thing he desired the most had appeared. Chapter 989. Use the branch of the world? If he confirmed what Yin Chuan said, he would crumble. If he could not confirm what Yin Chuan said, he would lose the desire in his heart. For a moment, Zhao Afong did not dare to take it. He shook his head. Zhao Afong fell silent. Yin Chuan seemed to have seen through Zhao Afong's misgivings. He gently put away the branch of the world and said, I can see that you have misgivings and difficulties, but I will soon prove my resolve to you. I hope that when you see my resolve, you will accept everything I say. Prove? Zhao Afong frowned. Yin Chuan smiled faintly and didn't continue on this topic. Let's not talk about Jinro. Let's talk about you. Do you have any wishes? Yin Chuan asked with a smile. Changing the topic made Zhao Afong feel much more at ease. At the very least, he had become much more open with Yin Chuan over the past few months. Wishes? My greatest wish is to see this colorful world, Zhao Afong said with a bitter smile. Oh, I can't see with my eyes. I use the mind's eye to see the world. Although I can see more clearly than others, there is no color. My world is black and white, cold and cheerless. Zhao Afong said with a bitter smile. No color? Haha. In truth, the most beautiful color is one's own emotions. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Emotions? Emotions are the creators of color. You might not have experienced it, but I believe that you will one day experience it. At that time, you will be able to see all the colors in the world. Yin Chuan consoled. Zhao Afong nodded, not quite understanding. Outside Fairy Palace, fog pervaded the air. Kong Mok led a large group of experts to the perimeter of Fairy Palace. Your Majesty, the array has been set up. Once Your Majesty gives the order, the array will activate and isolate the perimeter of Fairy Palace. No matter how great the commotion inside, it will not be able to travel out, a subject solemnly said. Kong Mok nodded. Activate the array. Let's go, Kong Mok ordered. With that, Kong Mok led the 5 experts into the Fairy Palace. The other officials around them quickly activated the array formation. Buzz. Suddenly, a formation appeared around the Fairy Palace. It was as if a transparent cover had formed around the palace. Yin Chuan, who was talking to the Holy Maiden, suddenly raised his eyebrows and looked up at the sky. Hmm? Holy Maiden's expression sank. The two immediately stood up. Boom! A powerful aura shot toward the fairy palace. In the surrounding side halls, by Di Tian, Lu Jin, and Dongfang Zhengpai's expressions all darkened. They quickly stepped out of the main hall and headed towards Yin Chuan. Boom! A gust of wind blew past, and six figures suddenly appeared in front of Yin Chuan and Zhao Afang. Kong Mok, the Prophet Buddha, and the four Upper Void Realm experts stared coldly at Yin Chuan. Kong Mok. Yin Chuan's face darkened. Behind him, by Di Tian, Lu Jin, and Dongfang Zhengpai had all arrived. Little bastard, you are indeed here? This is not your great Jin Empire. There is no golden dragon of providence for you to command. Kong Mok said with a gloomy expression. Kong Mok, do you know where this is? How dare you be so impudent in my place? Zhao Afang's expression changed. Kong Mok looked at Zhao Afang and said, Holy Maiden, I will apologize to you in the future for today's actions. However, today Yin Chuan must die. How dare you? Zhao Afang immediately rebuked. Yin Chuan smiled and said, Holy Maiden, let me do it. Chapter 990. Zhao Afang frowned slightly. Yin Chuan stood in front of the Heavenly Maiden. Things are different now. How could Yin Chuan stand behind a woman and let her protect him? Kong Mok, you want to kill me? Yin Chuan smiled coldly. Kong Mok smiled coldly. That's right. You must die today. Do you think Bai Ditian can protect you? Dream on. Among the group of people here, only Bai Ditian was recognized by Kong Mok. Kong Mok knew Lu Jin. After all, he had collected a lot of information on Dejun over the years. She was just an old eunuch. How big of a commotion could she cause? Yin Chuan did not waste his breath. He stretched out his hand and attacked first. Oh no. The Buddha's expression changed. Kong Mok's expression darkened, but he did not care. Instead, he also attacked Yin Chuan with his palm. Boom. Kong Mok did not use his full strength, but Yin Chuan used a lot of strength. The power of his palm was extremely vast. Moreover, in order not to hurt the Heavenly Maiden Temple, Yin Chuan suppressed all the aftershocks in Kong Mok's direction. Boom! Kong Mok was sent flying. The Buddha, Kong Mok, who was sent flying, Kong Mok's four subordinates. Kong Mok was not injured. He was stunned by this scene. How could it be? He was at the upper void stage, while Yin Chuan was at the intermediate void stage at most. How could he be sent flying? He originally thought he could kill Yin Chuan by stretching out his hand, but he was sent flying? Kill! Yin Chuan ordered and charged towards Kong Mok. Boom! Lu Jin's horsetail whisk suddenly swung out at an upper void stage cultivator who was still in a daze. Bai Di Tian, on the other hand, stepped forward and charged towards the Buddha. Bai Di Tian was at the 10th level of the upper void stage. He was extremely powerful. In just an instant, he appeared in front of the Buddha. His hand formed a claw, and a white light flashed past. The Prophet Buddha's expression changed drastically as he took out his kasaya. However, in front of Bai Di Tian, it was like an ordinary piece of cloth. Rip! The monastic robe was torn apart, and the claw light slashed across the chest of the Prophet Buddha. Prophet Buddha cried out in pain as Bai Di Tian tore off a large piece of flesh from his chest. How is that possible? Let's attack together. Prophet Buddha exclaimed. The expressions of the four upper void stage martial artists also changed drastically, and they quickly charged over. Boom, boom, boom. Bai Di Tian and Lu Jin fought against the 5 upper emptiness realm cultivators. For a moment, the battle was intense. Under the powerful collisions, a storm was created and rumbling sounds could be heard. Bai Di Tian and Lu Jin were fiercely suppressing the 5 upper emptiness realm cultivators. On the other side, Yin Chuan charged towards Kong Mok. Around Yin Chuan, star-like energy balls revolve around Yin Chuan as they spun rapidly. They carried a powerful aura as they charged towards Kong Mok. Yin Chuan held the Emperor's sword in one hand and the Jade Dark sword in the other as he charged towards Kong Mok. Stars and sword auras surrounded him. This made Yin Chuan's aura even more ferocious. You want to kill me? I want to kill you too. Kong Mok, you asked for it. Die. Yin Chuan charged ferociously. Kong Mok's mouth was agape as he looked at this scene in shock. Impossible. Kong Mok couldn't believe this magical scene no matter what. Of course, Kong Mok couldn't just sit there and wait for death. He brandished his sword and clashed with Yin Chuan. Rumble, rumble. Ah, Bai Diqian killed fourth brother. Fourth brother. Explosions rang out in the great formation where sand and pebbles flew about as the massacre continued. A group of upper void stage martial artists were fighting with all their might. Outside the array formation, Kong Mok subordinates were working hard to stabilize the array formation. The array formation trembled. It seemed like it would collapse at any moment. One of Kong Mok's subordinates laughed and said, "Ha, His Majesty must be torturing Yin Chuan to death." "That's right. Your Majesty is invincible. Right now, Yin Chuan must be helpless. The immortal trapping array is already like this. The battle inside must be exciting. Ha ha." Chapter 991. Rumble. Dust rose around the fairy palace as sand and rocks flew everywhere. The battle between the upper void realm cultivators shook the immortal trapping array. The officials of the Great Buddha Empire stabilized the immortal trapping array and mourned for Yin Chuan. In everyone's eyes, Kong Mok was definitely the one who was trampling on Yin Chuan and the others. Everyone knew about Yin Chuan's information. Previously, in the Great Jin Empire, he had only relied on the Golden Dragon's providence. Everyone was only guessing how long Yin Chuan would last. 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours later, the officials of the Great Buddha Empire could no longer remain calm. Something's not right. Why is it taking so long? One of the officials frowned. Just as everyone was frowning, an angry roar came from the sea of fog. "How dare you be so presumptuous in my archaic sect?" His furious roar soared into the sky as he charged toward the fairy palace. Who? Who? In an instant, a large number of experts gathered from all directions. "Not good. Your Majesty, quick! The people from the archaic sect are here." One of the officials shouted towards the array. At the same time, the various sect leaders who were invited rushed over after hearing the angry roar. Rumble! Countless cultivators rushed towards the fairy palace. Yin Ran became the center of attention in the fairy palace. Inside the immortal trapping array, 8 upper void realm cultivators were fighting fiercely. Lu Jin only cooperated with Yin Chuan and Bai Diqian. Most of them stayed out of the battle. The main reason was because Bai Diqian and Yin Chuan were strong. Bai Diqian tore an upper void realm cultivator apart. Yin Chuan also used his sword to kill an upper void realm cultivator. One sword pierced through the brain and the other through the heart. When the two swords clashed, the upper void realm cultivator was completely cut into pieces. The vine demon entangled an upper void realm cultivator, making him unable to move. The upper void realm cultivator struggled in fear. Boom! A large number of vines rushed towards the upper void realm cultivator, wanting to tear him into pieces. Only 3 people were left. Bai Diqian fought against 2 upper void realm cultivators. Yin Chuan, on the other hand, was fighting Kong Mok. Boom! 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 Yin Chuan's and Kong Mok's swords clashed, creating a huge impact. Lu Jin protected the others on the periphery. Impossible! How did you suddenly become so strong? Kong Mok exclaimed. Kong Mo-ku was not an ordinary upper void stage cultivator, and he was a powerful cultivator at the 7th level of the upper void stage. However, he was actually unable to do anything to Yin Chuan. Furthermore, he was actually suppressed by Yin Chuan's ferocious might. That was impossible. How old was this bastard? When Yin Chuan's sword clashed with Yin Chuan's saber, Yin Chuan's expression became even more ferocious. Roar! Yin Chuan roared. The ball of light that seemed to revolve around Kong Mok's body crazily crashed into his energy shield. Boom! Like a meat grinder, it twisted Kong Mok's defense. Yin Chuan suppressed Kong Mok ruthlessly. Kong Mo-ku, there's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. Today, You're the one who delivered yourself to me. Although I can't kill you in front of everyone, as long as I can avenge my parents, I won't hesitate to do anything. Rumble. The heavenly cycle stellar technique pressed down on Kong Mok's energy shield. Bastard! Bastard! Kong Mok roared unwillingly. Just as Kong Mok was struggling, a voice suddenly came from outside. Oh no! Your Majesty, quick! The archaic mysteries sect is here. The voice inside could not be heard, but the voice outside could be heard. Hearing the voice, Kong Mok's expression changed. Chapter 992. While he was distracted, one of the stars around Yin Chuan suddenly broke through his defense and appeared in front of Kong Mok. Smack! That star hit Kong Mok's face and made a crisp slap sound. A slap? Kong Mok's expression was extremely ugly. Your face is thicker than the city walls. My stars have shattered, but your face is still intact? Yin Chuan said in surprise. Bastard! Kong Mok was instantly enraged after being slapped in the face. And at this moment, above the immortal trapping array, suddenly, a huge white palm print descended from the sky. Boom! The huge palm slammed down, causing the entire sea of fog to boil. The Buddhist official looked at the sky with his mouth agape. Boom! The huge palm print pressed down on the immortal trapping array. Bam! The formation was crushed. More than 100 great Buddhist ministers who had been stabilizing the formation were sent flying backward by the countercurrent, each of them coughing up blood. Poof! Poof! Everyone fell to the ground. The array was broken. An immortal? Only an immortal can break it from the outside. Is this an immortal's attack? A cultivator on the ground exclaimed. Once the array was broken, a powerful force rushed inside the array. Boom! The people who were fighting inside were all pushed back by this powerful aura. They all tried to protect themselves, but they were all pushed back. Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with a strong sense of indignation. Bai Ditian saw that he could kill another person, but he had no choice but to dodge. Boom! The Vine Demon also released an upper Void Realm cultivator and quickly surrounded the Heavenly Lady and Dongfang Zhengpai to prevent them from getting hurt. Whoosh! A strong wind blew past, blowing away the sand and dust. An elder in a white Taoist robe appeared above everyone. He held a horsetail whisk and looked down coldly. It was the Archaic Mysteries sect master, Yin Xian. Dozens of people quickly gathered behind Yin Xian, including Sima Yin Tian, who Yin Chuan knew. He was the current Li Si. Li Si stood beside Meng Ling Tian. He looked curiously at the scene in the west. There was another person beside him, Kong Daoqiu from the Confucius Lu Academy. He was also looking down with a frown. 2 dead and 3 injured. Apart from Kong Mok, who was in a slightly sorry state, everyone else had suffered a painful blow. More and more cultivators gathered from all directions, including the disciples of the Archaic Mysteries sect and the experts from all over the place. Yin Xian frowned and looked down coldly. Immortals? Yin Xian was actually an immortal? Yin Chuan stared at Yin Xian in surprise after putting the Vine Demon away. Goddess, are you all right? Yin Xian looked at Zhao Afong sternly. Zhao Afong shook his head. Yin Xian immediately looked at the wailing people on the ground. More than 100 people had been injured by his palm. Finally, he looked at Kong Mok. Yin Xian squinted her eyes. Just what she was about to ask, Kong Daoqiu called out first. Kong Mok, what are you doing? Do you know where this is? Kong Daoqiu scolded. Kong Daoqiu's rebuke made Yin Xian fall silent for a while. Kong Mok looked at Kong Daoqiu with an ugly expression, then looked at Yin Chuan's group with a gloomy face. Goddess, Sect Master Yin, I have offended you. Kong Mok sighed gently. Clearly, he could not kill Yin Chuan now. The great Buddha, Emperor? I want to know what's going on. Yin Xian said sternly. Kong Mok sucked in a deep breath and said, This is a personal grievance between me and Yin Chuan. I didn't want to alarm everyone. A personal grievance with Yin Chuan? Must you settle it in the fairy hall? Yin Xian said coldly. Chapter 993. Kong Imoku frowned. Kong Imoku, you're not welcome here. Please leave immediately, Zhao Afong said coldly. Kong Mo Ko, why aren't you going back? Kong Daoqiu immediately shouted. Although he was scolding Kong Mo Ko, everyone could tell that he was protecting Kong Mo Ko. He did not want the situation to worsen and disrupt his plan. Countless cultivators in the surroundings revealed curious expressions. Kong Mo Ko had just been slapped in the face again. Now he was flustered, and he was even scolded. He immediately felt suffocated. He looked at Yin Chuan hatefully, then at the officials he brought with him. In the end, he snorted coldly and said, "Let's go." Kong Mo Ko quickly left with his officials. Clearly, Yin Xian did not want to let the matter rest. However, Kong Daoqiu said, "Sect Master Yun, I have offended you this time. I will definitely discipline him properly. Later, I will get Kong Mo Ko to apologize to the archaic mystery sect." Yin Xian looked at Kong Daoqiu and frowned. In the end, she nodded and did not pursue the matter. "Holy daughter, are you all right?" Yin Xian looked at Zhao Afong. Zhao Afong shook her head and said, "I'm fine. You all go ahead. I will clean up here myself." Yin Xian nodded. On account of Kong Daoqiu, Yin Xian slowly led the group away. Before leaving, Kong Daoqiu glanced at Yin Chuan in surprise. Li Si and Meng Lingtian were slightly surprised as well. However, they still left with Yin Xian. The only people left behind were the experts from the various sects, as well as the various sect leaders who had been invited. "Holy daughter, what happened earlier?" the sect master called out. The others all looked over. Zhao Afong frowned. Clearly, she did not want to say anything. "You go back first. Leave this to me," Yin Chuan said softly. "All right." Zhao Afong nodded and retreated to the undamaged palace. The other sect masters immediately frowned. At the same time, they looked at Yin Chuan's group with hostility. Just as Yin Chuan was about to step forward, Dongfang Zhengpai suddenly said, "Yin Chuan, you have been fighting for so long. Leave this to me." "Huh? No matter what, I am the director of the Special Affairs Department. How can I not handle such a small matter?" Dongfang Zhengpai said with a wink. Looking at Dongfang Zheng, Yin Chuan nodded. He would leave this place to Dongfang Zhengji. After all, to Yin Chuan, there was no need for him to explain himself to these people. However, Dongfang Zhengpai felt that this was an opportunity to perform. Yin Chuan, Bai Ditian, and Lu Jin retreated to the main hall that was still intact. Only the Eastern Orthodox faction remained. "You're the one from the Jilu Academy." One of the sect masters recognized him immediately. "That's right. I am the Great Confucian, Dongfang Zhengpai." Dongfang Zhengpai nodded. "What happened just now? Also, how can they live near the fairy palace?" One of the sect masters frowned. "What happened just now? Can't you see? The Celestial Arcanum sect's God creation plan is a fair competition. The Heavenly Lady and sect leader Yun are the judges. However, there are despicable people who want to find another way and destroy this fairness." Dongfang Zhengpai said, "What? Kong Mok wants to destroy the rules?" One of the sect masters shouted angrily. "Isn't that so? Everyone had a chance to participate in the God creation plan. However, Kong Mok was a despicable villain. He actually set his sights on the Holy Daughter and even set up a grand formation to trap this place." Dongfang Zhengpai said, "Is that so?" Someone asked suspiciously. "Of course. I'm a scholar. How can I lie?" Dongfang Zhengpai said with a straight face. Everyone looked at Dongfang Zhengpai suspiciously. Chapter 994. Then tell me, how is Kong Mok going to break the rules? Is it enough to trap her here? How is he going to force her to agree? Someone frowned. "Can't you see? She's trapped by the array. If Yin Chuan and I were not here, Kong Mok would have succeeded." Dongfang Zhengpai shouted. "You almost succeeded? Is he going to use her innocence to threaten her?" Someone suddenly thought of something. Innocence? The innocence of the Heavenly Maiden? Kong Mok wants to do something beastly? Instantly, many cultivators were enraged. Dongfang Zhengpai was feeling smug when he suddenly felt that something was wrong. Yin Chuan seemed to have an ambiguous relationship with the goddess. If he continued on this topic, wouldn't he be tarnishing her reputation? Wouldn't he be letting Yin Chuan down? No, he had to protect her reputation. Dongfang Zhengpai immediately shouted, "No, it's not what you think." Huh? Actually, Kong Mok has a vicious secret technique to refine people into puppets. He wants to control the goddess. Dongfang Zhengpai explained. A secret technique to control people? How can there be such a secret technique? He must be trying to threaten her with her innocence. Someone said in disbelief. As soon as that person said that, many people followed suit and agreed. Dongfang Zhengpai was dumbfounded. They didn't believe him. What should he do? Seeing that everyone was filled with righteous indignation, Dongfang Zhengpai gritted his teeth and threw out another bombshell. "Sai, you've misunderstood. Kong Mok really wants to use a vicious secret technique. As for her innocence, it's impossible. Because," Dongfang Zhengpai said with a troubled expression. "Because what?" Everyone looked at Dongfang Zhengpai. "Because Kong Mok is into men." Dongfang Zhengpai gritted his teeth and said, "Everyone, men?" Everyone looked at Dongfang Zhengpai in confusion. "Of course. When he trapped us, he even said that he liked me. He said that he would kidnap me and make me his concubine after this matter was over. I almost vomited," Dongfang Zhengpai said shamelessly. Everyone looked at Dongfang Zhengpai and widened their eyes. "You vomited?" "I even vomited. Do you think Kong Mok would be interested in that fat pig of yours?" Furthermore, Kong Mok mentioned a few names when he was in the formation, such as the sect leader of the blood-sealing sect and the sect leader of the true self sect. They were all Kong Mok's next targets. Dongfang Zhengpai continued. "What? Bastard!" Two angry shouts came from the crowd. Everyone looked over. However, the two people in the crowd were so angry that their faces turned red. Dongfang Zhengpai's eyes lit up. "So it's Sect Lord Blood Sealing and Sect Lord True Self. You two should be careful in the coming days. This Kong Mok is not human." "Brat, what nonsense are you talking about?" the two of them said angrily. Dongfang Zhengpai looked hurt. "I didn't say it was Kong Mok. I'm in the same boat as you. You should know that no one would slander themselves for no reason. It's really Kong Mok. His taste is too disgusting. Take care of yourselves." "Ah, bastard," the sect leader of the blood-sealing sect said angrily. "Oh, that's right. I remember Kong Mok also said that there's no one he can't get his hands on. You two, be careful. Let's work together." Dongfang Zhengpai sighed. "Let's work together?" The dozens of sect leaders thought about Dongfang Zhengpai's words and shivered. "Everyone, let's be careful. Kong Mok has a group of lackeys who search for people for him," Dongfang Zhengpai shouted. Suddenly, a cultivator's expression changed. "No, I remember now. One of Kong Mok's subordinates has been wandering around my base recently." As soon as that person spoke, everyone's gazes turned to him. Dongfang Zhengpai said with a worried expression, "Fellow cultivator, you should pray for yourself." Dongfang Zhengpai's words made that cultivator break out in cold sweat. "Kong Mok, you pervert!" That cultivator shouted angrily, as if he had been greatly humiliated. The gazes of the people around him became sympathetic. At this point, Dongfang Zhengpai had completely demonized Kong Mok in everyone's hearts. The masculine Kong Mok? One could imagine how much blood Kong Mok would spit out when he heard the news. Asking for leave, "I'm very sorry." Sometimes when Guanxi caught a cold, he would update while sick. However, this time was different. His family's elder was critically ill, and he had to ask for leave. Sorry. Leave notice Guanxi's grandmother passed away. I'm asking for leave for 3 days." Chapter 995. 4 days later, south of the Celestial Arcanum sect, at Kong Mok's base, Kong Mok looked at the Prophet Buddha. "Prophet, how are your injuries?" Kong Mok asked. "Thank you for your concern, Your Majesty. I'm much better now. By Ditian, I didn't expect him to be so powerful. 10th level upper void stage? I can't even hold my own against him." The Prophet Buddha smiled bitterly. Kong Mok took a deep breath and nodded. "Yin Chuan has been lucky all these years. Your Majesty, it seems that our people who are scattered all over the place have been attacked for some unknown reason recently?" Prophet Buddha asked curiously. Kong Mok frowned and nodded. That's right. At first, I thought it was Yin Chuan's doing. However, after a few dozen attacks, I realized it couldn't be Yin Chuan's doing. The people who attacked us are from all over the continent. It can't be Yin Chuan's secret force. Then why? We didn't get any benefits in the fairy palace. Why are we being ostracized? I'm not sure. The injured people said they were enraged when they saw them. There's no explanation at all. Just when the two of them were at their wits' end because of the inexplicable blow to the great Buddhist minister, Your Majesty. Your Majesty. Cries of agony came from outside the hall. Soon, a group of people carried an official covered in blood into the hall. Beloved official, how are you? Kong Mok quickly went forward. The heavily injured official's face was covered in blood as he said, Your Majesty, I'm useless. I went to the blood-sealing sect to seek an audience with the sect master of the blood-sealing sect. However, the sect master of the blood-sealing sect attacked me without saying a word. I only managed to escape in a hurry. I didn't complete Your Majesty's mission. I couldn't persuade the sect master of the blood-sealing sect to surrender. Kong Mok's face twitched. In the end, he comforted the official. You've worked hard. Rest well. Yes. Everyone retreated. Only the Prophet Buddha remained. The two of them looked at each other. They were panicking. You have to find out what's going on. Kong Mok was enraged. Yes. The palace master of the Jade Palace requests an audience. A report came from outside the hall. Ma Daoquan? Why is he here? Didn't we ask him to secretly assist His Majesty in obtaining first place? Prophet Buddha asked with a frown. Let him in. Kong Mok was also confused. Soon, Ma Daoquan entered the main hall. She was none other than the palace master of Ning Shui Palace, who had been discovered by Ninth Rat and Kong Mok not long ago. The moment Ma Daoquan entered the main hall, he immediately bowed and said, Greetings, Your Majesty. Daoquan? Why are you here? Kong Mok frowned. Your Majesty, I've heard some bad news about Your Majesty. Your Majesty's subjects have been attacked many times, so I had no choice but to come. Ma Daoquan said anxiously. Oh, do you know the reason? Kong Mok glared. Yes, Your Majesty. You've been slandered by Yin Chuan. Now all the sect leaders fear you like snakes and scorpions. Ma Daoquan said anxiously. Yin Chuan? Slander? What's going on? Kong Mok frowned. Slander? A slander was enough to make all the sect leaders stand together against him. What kind of slander was that? Yin Chuan instigated the Eastern Orthodox faction to slander you. Ma Daoquan didn't know what to say. Say it. I'll pardon you. Kong Mok said anxiously. Say it. You're a man. Ma Daoquan looked at Kong Mok with a hint of curiosity in his eyes. A man? Kong Mok didn't react for a moment. Chapter 996. However, Kong Mok reacted quickly and shouted angrily, What? Bastard! I'm going to wipe out your entire family. Kong Mok roared at the top of his lungs. Ma Daoquan repeated what Dongfang Zhongpai had said that day, word for word. Bam! Kong Mok's eyes were bloodshot as he smashed the chair beside him. Lustful? You're interested in that fat pig from Dongfang Zhongpai, and you want to snatch that fat pig back to be your concubine? Hearing this, Kong Mok had the urge to vomit blood. No wonder. Prophet Buddha smiled bitterly. No wonder those faction leaders looked at the people from the great Buddha Empire like snakes and scorpions. This kind of slander was too despicable and filthy at the same time. Kong Mok was so disgusted that he wanted to go back and kill them. Your Majesty, it's good that you didn't. Ma Daoquan sighed. What? Even you suspect me? Kong Mok said angrily. No. I'm just thinking about how to resolve this slander. Ma Daoquan said immediately. Kong Mok was angry, and the two of them knew that, so they didn't care about Kong Mok's snort. Your Majesty, the plan to create a god is nearing. We have to get rid of this slander. Prophet Buddha said immediately. Then what do you think we should do? Kong Mok frowned. Your Majesty, I came here on my own accord to resolve this slander. If Your Majesty clarifies the matter, the faction leaders will not believe it. Therefore, I think it's best for Your Majesty to clarify this matter. At the same time, I'll criticize Yin Chuan's evil intentions on your majesty's behalf, and let the faction leaders be wary of Yin Chuan. Ma Daoquan said. Kong Mok nodded. Your majesty, after Ma Daoquan's explanation, I'll bring some people to visit those factions that attacked us. On one hand, we'll seek justice for our people. On the other hand, we'll pardon their wrongdoings at the right time to buy favors and make preparations for your majesty to take them in. Prophet Buddha said, All right, I'll leave this matter to you. Kong Mok nodded. Yes. The two of them left the hall. Standing in the middle of the hall, Kong Moku thought of that fat pig, Dongfang Zhengpai. His face twitched. That fat pig actually said that he wanted to take him as his concubine. We will definitely exterminate your entire clan. Kong Moku's eyes were filled with anger. Ma Daoquan's movements were extremely fast. While the surrounding sect leaders were demonizing Kong Mok to the extreme, Ma Daoquan timely cleared Kong Mok's name and pointed the spearhead at Eastern Orthodox sect. They said that this person was extremely despicable and shameless. In a valley outside the archaic Arcanum sect, Rin Shu, who had been injured by Kong Mok not long ago, once again summoned a group of rats to gather information. Haha, Kong Mok, to think that you would have such a day. This Dongfang Zheng sect is indeed a member of my generation. Rin Rat said excitedly. Not long ago, the grudge of his egg being injured was still fresh in Hydra's mind. Although Ninth Rat was slapped to death, it was also extremely narrow-minded. Seeing Kong Moku suffer, it naturally took pleasure in his misfortune. Squeak, squeak, squeak. A fat rat reported again. Hearing Big Rat's report, Ninth Rat's eyes rolled again. The wise Buddha brought a group of people to visit the encampments of the major sects. Could it be that he wants to dissolve this slander? Ma Daoquan cleared Kong Mok's name. The time for Rat Grandpa to take revenge has come. Wise Buddha, on the day when Rat Grandpa was injured, you chased me for so many days and still told me that sex is the leader of all evil? Let's see if Rat Grandpa doesn't kill you. Ninth Rat's face revealed a trace of hatred. Chapter 997. Sealing Blood Sect's Encampment. Inside a large hall. At this moment, a group of practitioners was standing. Everyone looked at the person leading them. Sealing Blood Sect's Sect Master. Why did you call us here? What life and death matter? Everyone frowned and looked at the man leading them. The man leading them looked at everyone and said, Greetings, Sect Masters. Today I invited everyone here, not because of my own intentions, but because of someone else's request. Moreover, this matter concerns our honor. We need to face it together. Oh, the 9 Sect Masters frowned and looked at Sealing Blood Sect's Sect Master. At this moment, a green-robed practitioner walked out from the side hall. It was Runrat. Let's have Home Masterin say it. Sealing Blood Sect's Sect Master said solemnly. Runrat nodded and looked at the 10 powerful Sect Masters. Everyone looked at Rinrat. Rinrat took a deep breath and said, I have some friendship with Sealing Blood Sect's Sect Master, so I came here to inform him. Later, Sealing Blood Sect's Sect Master said that he wanted everyone to face it together, so I called everyone here. What's the matter? A scarlet-red practitioner shouted. Rat glanced at him and said, Scarlet Red Sect's Sect Master? Just like the rumors, fiery temper. Let me introduce myself first. Yeah, does anyone recognize me? Scarlet Red Sect's Sect Master raised his eyebrows and said, Who are you? Someone recognized him. You are Divine Sect's Sacred Grounds Run Shunhall Master. Runrat? That's right. Runrat nodded. Rinrat nodded. Scarlet Red Sect's Sect Master frowned. After all, to everyone, Sacred Grounds were the same level as high-level sects. When a Sacred Grounds Home Master spoke, the credibility was relatively high. Run Shunhall Master? What's the matter? Someone said. Taking a deep breath, Runrat said, Does everyone still remember the matter of Fairy Hall 8 days ago? Of course I remember. Eastern Orthodox sect slandered Kong Moku, which disgusted the surrounding sect masters. They made such a big joke. Scarlet Red Sect's Sect Master laughed. Slander? Ha! Runrat revealed a disdainful smile. And everyone frowned and looked at Runrat. The Julu Academy and Confucius Lu Academy are the oldest academies in the world. Every great Confucian in the Julu Academy is full of righteousness. Confucian cultivators like them value their reputation the most. Why would the Eastern Orthodox need to defile others? What good would it do him? Runrat asked. He's a great scholar, a scholar. Although I've never seen him before, his reputation is quite high in the divine sect's sacred ground. He's righteous and never lies. He's the founder of the Julu Academy, the descendant of Invincible East. Would he defile himself? Runrat said with certainty. Everyone raised their eyebrows. There was a hint of wavering. But 3 days ago, Palace Master Ning Shui and Ma Daoquan personally cleared Kong Mok's name. Ma Daoquan and Kong Mok have a grudge against each other for killing his son. Moreover, Kong Mok has never heard of such news before. The Crimson Sect Master said with a frown. Rumors? Would Kong Mok spread this kind of news? Runrat said disdainfully. Everyone frowned and looked at Runrat. I don't know if everyone knows that not long ago, I was chased by Prophet Buddha. Runrat said in a deep voice. I know about this. I even saw with my own eyes that Prophet Buddha chased after you. Not only me, but many sect masters should know about this. After all, you were in a stalemate for several days. Feng Shui's sect master said. Could it be that Kong Mok also took a liking to you? The Crimson Sect Master's eyes widened in surprise. Chapter 998. Runrat shook his head and said, Of course not. That day, I bumped into Kong Mok and Ma Daoquan's good deed. Everyone was surprised. All of you know that Ma Daoquan and Kong Mo Ku have a reconcilable enmity. Why would Ma Daoquan speak up for Kong Mo Ku? Runrat said disdainfully. Why? Everyone already had an answer in their hearts, but they still didn't believe it. Actually not long ago, I saw with my own eyes how Kong Mok subdued Ma Daoquan. Because of that, I was chased for millions of miles. At that time, Kong Mok hurriedly put on his clothes, so he sent his lackeys, the Prophet Buddha, to kill me to silence me. Fortunately, I escaped in the end. All the sect leaders felt a chill run down their spines. Was this for real? Kong Mok conquered Ma Daoquan? Thinking of this, everyone felt their hair stand on end. That's not right. The Prophet Buddha just visited me yesterday. He even abandoned our grudge against him. A sect leader frowned. Runrat sneered and said, That's because Kong Mok wants to do to you what he did to Ma Daoquan. What? The sect master jumped up in anger. And everyone, actually when I bumped into Kong Mok, it was because I heard your names that I gathered all of you. Don't you all feel that you are much more handsome than ordinary people? Runrat said. Preposterous. The Scarlet Red Sect Master was instantly enraged. Great Confucian wouldn't sully his own reputation. I, Runrat, am the Palace Master of Divine Sect's sacred ground. Why would I lie to you? You've all been deceived by Kong Mo Ku, Runrat said earnestly. Everyone's brows furrowed into a frown. You can't defeat the Prophet Buddha, sigh. Runrat sighed for everyone. Reporting. A voice came from outside the palace. Come in. Sect Master Feng Shui frowned. Soon, 2 disciples came in. Sect Leader. This is the Scarlet Sect Leader's disciple requesting an audience. One of them shouted, Disciple, why are you here? The Scarlet Red Sect Master frowned. Sect Master, the Prophet Buddha came to seek an audience today. We told him that you weren't here, but he still left a letter for you. The disciple cried out. You're still as perverted as ever. Runrat sneered. The Scarlet Red Sect Master had a fiery temper. He immediately rushed over and tore the letter that his disciple sent over. Bastard, how dare you? Where is that ignorant prophet? The Scarlet Red Sect Master shouted in rage. I think he went to the True Self sect at that time, the disciple shouted. Bastard, he went to my sect? Another sect leader in the hall said angrily. Reporting. Another outer sect disciple came in to report. It was also the news of the Buddha. At the side, Ninth Rat sneered inwardly. Uncle Rat analyzed your route, and that's why I invited all their sect masters here. Prophet Buddha? You'll suffer later. Reports of bad luck kept coming in. The faces of the sect leaders were extremely ugly. At the same time, he broke out in cold sweat. Under normal circumstances, Kong Mok's hobby could be treated as a joke. However, when it came to them, it was not as simple as a joke. All the people who had reached the upper emptiness realm felt a chill in their hearts. They even felt their scalps go numb. Sigh. Everyone, that's all I have to say. As for how to resolve this, you'd better be careful. Ninth Rat said with a sigh. Reporting. Sect Master, the Buddha Prophet requests an audience. Another disciple rushed into the hall. What? The sect leader's face changed. Immediately, the sect leader remembered that the Dongfang Zhengji sect had mentioned him that day. As long as Kong Mok had his eyes on something, there was nothing he couldn't get. The sect leader's face turned red with anger. Bald donkey, you're courting death, the sect leader said angrily. Everyone in the hall was also filled with righteous indignation. The Prophet Buddha is a very useful pawn of Kong Mok. Not only is he powerful, but his wisdom is also extraordinary. It can be said that he is brave and resourceful. It seems that the process of Ma Daoquan being conquered was planned by the Prophet Buddha. Everyone. Ninth Rat added fuel to the fire. Everyone immediately felt darkness in front of them. Kill this pervert, the sect leader said with bloodshot eyes. Okay. The group of sect leaders shouted in unison. Chapter 999. Blood-sealing Sect's Encampment. Prophet Buddha and his 10 disciples were standing at the outer plaza. One of the disciples frowned. Master, we went to 6 sects encampments in a row, but none of the sect leaders are here. Could something have happened? Shaking his head, Prophet Buddha said, No, the first few sects we went to, weren't they normal? Don't be impatient. Working for His Majesty is your fortune. If you can form good karma now, it'll be a merit for the great Buddha Empire. Yes. The disciples calmed down. The 10 disciples calmed down, but Prophet Buddha was a little annoyed. 6 times in a row. I hope it's just a coincidence. On the mountain, there was a formation set up to prevent outsiders from seeing what was going on, but those on the mountain could see what was going on. Renrat led the 10 sect leaders to look at Prophet Buddha. The 10 sect leaders' faces turned red, their eyes spitting fire as they looked down. This bald donkey has guts. Let's go kill him together. Scarlet Red Sect's leader shouted. Wait, Renrat suddenly shouted. Everyone looked at Renrat. Everyone, I know that all of you still have some doubts about me. Renrat said. Doubts? What doubts? Scarlet Red Sect's leader was puzzled. Although the other 9 sect leaders were furious, they still had some calmness. I'm sure everyone knows that Prophet Buddha went to your encampments for the same reason he came here. Why don't we let Blood-Sealing Sect's leader go down and ask him personally? Renrat asked. Oh, everyone looked at Renrat in surprise. They had some doubts before, but now that Renrat was so honest, their doubts were mostly gone. What's there to ask? Just kill this pervert, Scarlet Red Sect's leader shouted. Renrat shook his head firmly and looked at Blood-Sealing Sect's leader. I know Blood-Sealing Sect's leader doesn't want to talk to him, but please verify it for everyone. After we go down, Prophet Buddha will definitely beat around the bush. If you don't want to say anything, just ask yourself, does Kong Mo want to take me as his concubine? Everything will be clear. Just ask him if he wants to take you as his concubine. The results will be out soon. Blood-Sealing Sect's leader was embarrassed. Asked this question, who could open their mouths? However, looking at the expectant gazes of the other sect leaders, as well as their collective indignation, sect leader Feng Xuan nodded his head in order to verify the truth. Under everyone's gazes, the Blood-Sealing Sect master flew down. What he didn't know was that Ninth Rat's words just now had a hint. Although Ninth Rat only emphasized one question, he added another question that could be replaced. Everyone stared intently below. When the Blood-Sealing Sect master landed, the Buddha of Prophets saw him, and his eyes lit up. That bright gaze made Sect Master Feng Shui feel extremely disgusted. Prophet greets sect master blood-sealing sect. Prophet Buddha stepped forward with a smile. Greetings, Prophet Buddha. Why have you come? The blood-sealing sect master suppressed his disgust and said, I am here on behalf of His Majesty. Blood-sealing sect master, are you not going to invite me to your residence? Prophet Buddha asked politely. Sect master Feng Shui frowned. No need, Prophet Buddha. I just want to ask you a question. Oh, blood-sealing sect master, please speak. Prophet Buddha was slightly puzzled. Kong Mo-ku. Do you want to take me as your concubine? Blood-sealing sect master asked. But at this moment, he couldn't bring himself to say the words concubine. Chapter 1000. Not to mention the group of sect leaders behind him, there were also many disciples in his own sect. Concubine? Concubine my ass. Even saying that out loud was disgusting. His reputation might be ruined just like that. After choking for a while, he still couldn't bring himself to say the word concubine. He could only choose one of the two questions. Does Kong Mok want to take me as his concubine? The Prophet Buddha was slightly stunned. The Prophet Buddha could see the difficulty in the blood-sealing sect leader's words. There was also a trace of hesitation and even a slight struggle in his mind. The Prophet Buddha didn't know about Rin Shu's provocation earlier. When the Prophet Buddha saw this, he immediately felt a trace of excitement. Could it be that the blood-sealing sect leader is taking the initiative to submit to my empire? As the group of sect leaders waited on the mountain, the Prophet Buddha finally spoke. Our great Buddha imperial dynasty is famous in the West Divine Continent, and even the 10,000 Buddha's sacred ground is closely allied with us. His Majesty is talented and bold, and he will definitely unify the world in the future. There are countless heroes in the world, but not many can catch his attention. His Majesty values you very much, and as long as you are willing, he will definitely not treat you badly. Your blood-sealing sect will be valued by His Majesty because of you. As long as you are willing, His Majesty will definitely welcome you with open arms. The Prophet Buddha said with a smile, Welcome you with open arms? That was an idiom used to describe how welcoming a guest was. As long as a guest came, he would give up his master bedroom to the guest and his bed to the guest to rest in with the greatest etiquette. The Prophet Buddha meant that Kong Mok would definitely be extremely welcoming and respectful. However, at this moment, the blood-sealing sect leader felt that it was extremely grating. The truth was revealed. This Kong Mok was indeed perverted. On a mountain, Rin Shu was slightly stunned. He didn't expect the Prophet Buddha to be so cooperative. He was immediately overjoyed. I heard that Son of Heaven Mok is extremely domineering. He hasn't even arrived yet, and his lackey is already so brazen. Welcome you with open arms? He even prepared the bed. How disgusting. That day, the great scholar was right. Kong Mok will do anything to achieve his goal. There's no one he can't get. Sigh, there's no one he can't get. Rin Shu continued to provoke. Bald donkey, pervert, I'm going to kill you. The scarlet red sect master shouted angrily. Everyone had a herd mentality. The crimson sect master's shout completely dispelled everyone's doubts. Roar! The group of sect masters was instantly enraged. At the foot of the mountain, Buddha Prophet was talking excitedly. Suddenly, he saw sect master Feng Shui's face turn ashen. He was puzzled. Sect master Feng Shui, what happened to you? What's wrong? This sovereign will kill you. Blood-sealing sect master immediately grabs his large blade and slashes down with a loud bang. What are you doing? Prophet Buddha was shocked. At the same time, 9 powerful auras rushed out from the array not far away. All of them were at the upper emptiness realm. Bald donkey die. The scarlet red sect master was the first to roar. Hand over your life. Die. Rumble. The furious killing intent of the 10 upper emptiness realm cultivators instantly swept towards the Prophet Buddha. Wait a minute, what's going on? Prophet Buddha's expression changed greatly as he tried to block the attack. Rumble. However, the 10 sect masters had already straightened out everything and understood everything. How could they have the time to explain it to him? Master, save me! A disciple Jiaohu shouted. Rumble. Chapter 1001. How could this group of people escape from the encirclement of 10 upper emptiness realm experts? Other than the Prophet Buddha, the others were instantly killed. Bastards, you are all crazy. The Prophet Buddha resisted in a sorry state. Die. Torrential flames. The Scarlet Sect leader immediately took out his treasure and released scorching flames. The Prophet Buddha was besieged by 10 upper emptiness realm experts and immediately fled in fear. However, 10 upper emptiness realm experts besieged one person. How could they let him escape? He could only take out his Buddhist commandment blade and resist in the chaos. Rumble. The battle became more and more intense. For a moment, a large number of mountains and rivers were shattered and gravel soared into the sky. The powerful movement immediately made the other sect leaders puzzled. They all rushed to the center of the battle. Even Kong Mok frowned when he heard the sound of the enormous impact. What happened? Kong Mok frowned slightly. However, he still flew to the sky with a group of officials and flew to the distant battlefield. When Kong Mok arrived, a large number of cultivators had already gathered around. It's the Prophet Buddha? One of the officials exclaimed. In the battlefield, the Prophet Buddha was in a sorry state. His right hand, that was holding the Buddhist commandment blade, was cut off and thrown away. His upper body was frozen and his lower body was charred. He waved an alms bowl in his hand and resisted the attacks of the 10 upper emptiness realm experts with difficulty. The Prophet Buddha was on the verge of death. Roar, His Majesty will definitely avenge me. The Prophet Buddha shouted angrily. This was the most inexplicable battle. Was he going to die without knowing what happened? The Prophet Buddha was extremely depressed. Bastard, stop! Kong Mok suddenly shouted. Kong Mok rushed into the battlefield with a group of officials. Boom! Kong Mok's strength was indeed powerful. With a fierce attack, the battlefield was instantly messed up. Under the huge force, the 10 sect leaders were instantly forced to retreat. Of course, strength was only one aspect. The 10 sect leaders were traumatized when they saw Kong Mok and retreated in fright. The 10 sect leaders looked at Kong Mok in shock and doubt. It was as if they were afraid that they would fall into Kong Mok's hands. Pooh! Your Majesty, thank you, Your Majesty. The Prophet Buddha spat out a mouthful of blood and cried out bitterly. What happened? Why are they besieging you? Kong Mok shouted. I don't know. The Prophet Buddha said gloomily. Kong Mok's eyes hardened as he turned to look at the 10 sect leaders. Why did you kill my subjects? Kong Mok asked coldly. Why? Kong Mok, you pervert. The Scarlet Red Sect Master was instantly enraged. Don't be afraid. Today we'll execute this demon on the spot. Sect Master Feng Shui said angrily. Although Kong Mok's eyes were fierce, he was at a loss. Had these people lost their minds? Prophet Buddha, how have you been? Suddenly, a voice came from his side. Everyone looked over, only to see Ninth Rat slowly walk over to where Prophet Buddha's severed arm was and remove the Buddhist commandment blade from it. Rinshu, it's you. Prophet Buddha immediately understood that it was definitely Ninth Rat who instigated it. However, he did not understand how it was done. Kong Mok also looked at Rinrodin coldly. But Ninth Rat stared at Prophet Buddha and said, Prophet Buddha, your lower body has been roasted to a crisp by the Crimson Sect Master. The Prophet Buddha glared at Rinrat. I remember when you were chasing me that day. You told me that you were the leader of all evils. Do you still remember? Ninth Rat asked. When the experts heard Ninth Rat's question, they were at a loss for a moment. They did not know what he was trying to say. Ninth Rat continued. I'll return this Buddhist commandment blade to you. Your thing is already charred. Take this opportunity to cut it off yourself. After the Buddhist commandment blade was thrown away, everyone followed Ninth Rat's words and looked at the Prophet Buddha's charred lower body. The Prophet Buddha. Chapter 1002. Fairy Palace. Yin Chuan was in the side hall. Sima Yuntian, who was now Li Si, stood in front of Yin Chuan. Meng Lingtian stood beside Li Si and smiled at Yin Chuan. Lu Jin stood respectfully behind Yin Chuan. Dongfang Zhongpai stood on both sides. Yin Chuan has already agreed. Li Si, you have to thank me. Dongfang Zhongpai said with a smile. If Dajin can get Li Si, it's like getting an arm. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Li Si looked at Yin Chuan and frowned. He didn't know why, but he suddenly felt a sense of familiarity. This feeling didn't come from the Julu Academy's Wenduel. It was as if there was a sense of familiarity. Yin Chuan, Li Si is a paragon of the Julu Academy. If I let you have him, what position will you give him? Meng Lingtian said with a smile. Yin Chuan looked at Meng Lingtian and took a deep breath. Dajin didn't have a prime minister position because there hasn't been a candidate that I'm satisfied with. I've seen Mr. Li Si's abilities, and he's indeed extraordinary. Since Mr. Li Si is interested in the position of prime minister, then let's start with the position of senior secretary. From today onwards, I appoint Li Si as the senior secretary of the prime minister's residence. He'll be a grade 5 official. A god investiture decree was issued. The fortune clouds in the distant Yin capital suddenly surged violently. Your subject, Li Si, greets your majesty. Li Si bowed respectfully. Yin Chuan accepted the bow, and Li Si bowed. At this moment, both of them frowned. It was as if there was some kind of resonance between the bow and the acceptance. It was as if everything was supposed to be like this. Li Si and Yin Chuan both revealed a trace of surprise. What's wrong? Meng Lingtian asked curiously. Li Si immediately turned around and shook his head. Nothing. I'll have to trouble you with the archaic sect leader. All right. Meng Lingtian nodded with a strange look on his face. After sending Meng Lingtian off, Li Si still looked at Yin Chuan with a complicated expression. Yin Chuan naturally understood the Julu Academy's intentions. When Li Si entered Dijon, he would at most be a visiting professor. However, Yin Chuan was confident that one day, Li Si would definitely enter Dijon. Li Si, we understand your capabilities. However, in the Great Jun, we have to make a name for ourselves through meritorious deeds. Therefore, we can only wrong you for the time being. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Your Majesty worries too much. Since I've entered Great Jun, I naturally understand my position. From today onwards, Your Majesty doesn't need to care about my other identities. From today onwards, I'm the chief clerk of Great Jun's Prime Minister's estate. If Your Majesty has any instructions, feel free to let me know. Li Si smiled. Looking at Li Si, Yin Chuan nodded in satisfaction. What are Meng Lingtian and Kong Daoqiu doing at the heart of the clouds? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Not just the two of them. Zhu is also at the heart of the clouds. Your Majesty should know that the God-making plan this time is basically the archaic mysteries sect attaching itself to a certain hero. Using the special ability of fate cultivation, it will assist and nurture an ancient godlike existence. Li Si explained. Ancient godlike existence? Yin Chuan frowned slightly. Like Goddess Shi Chun, or the immortal world's ambitious hero, Jing Ming, not long ago. Although the archaic mysteries sect rarely travels the world, its foundation is extremely solid. Especially in the immortal world, it's one of the great powers that watches over the world tree. It's not an exaggeration to use all their strength to create a god, Li Si said in a low voice. Meng Lingtian, Kong Daoqiu, and Zhu are accompanying the heart of the clouds so that they can get more attention from the clouds. Your Majesty will be competing among the heroes next. Similarly, Meng Lingtian, Kong Daoqiu, and Zhu will also be competing among the upper echelons. All of this is to increase the importance of the archaic mysteries sect leader. Li Si explained. Chapter 1003. Oh, so winning the championship is just one of the reasons? Winning the championship may not be enough to gain the recognition of archaic arcanum sect? Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes. Yes. Li Si nodded. After a moment of silence, Yin Chuan looked at Li Si again and said, God-making plan? Ha! Li Si, I want you to gather information on the experts from all over the world. I need to expand my forces in this competition. Yes, Li Si replied. Blood-sealing sex encampment. I'll return this Buddhist commandment blade to you. That thing of yours is burnt. Take this opportunity to cut it off yourself. The Buddhist commandment blade was thrown away. Everyone followed Ren Shu's words and looked at the burnt lower part of Prophet Buddha. Prophet Buddha? Ha! Ha ha ha! Ha ha! The laughter of countless cultivators could be heard from all directions. Prophet Buddha's face flushed red. He pointed at Ren Shu and trembled. Pooh! He spat out a mouthful of blood. You scoundrel again, Kong Mok said coldly. Ren Shu naturally retreated to the side of the 10 sect masters. Kong Mok, I saw everything before you injured me. Ren Shu shouted. You saw everything? So what if you saw it? Do you think you can escape today? Kong Mok said coldly. Escape? Why should I escape? With Ma Daokuan as an example. Do you think the sect masters will ignore him? If we don't work together today, the sect masters here will be the next Ma Daokuan. Ren Shu rebuked angrily. Kong Mok didn't understand what was going on. Everyone, now is the best time. If you don't want to be Kong Mok's concubine, then kill him. Kill Kong Mok here. Ren Shu suddenly shouted. His concubine? The 10 sect masters suddenly quivered. Kill. Scarlet Sect Master was the first to fly into the sky. Kill. The 10 sect masters rushed forward together. Kong Mok's face changed. The faces of the officials also changed. They immediately went up to meet the attack. The faces of the sect leaders who were watching from all directions changed. Concubine? Kong Mok's concubine? What did that have to do with the Scarlet Red Sect and the Blood-Sealing sect masters? In an instant, countless Xiozha thought of the words of that person in Dongfangjung's sect. Could it be true? Someone asked in surprise. Ma Daokuan became Kong Mok's concubine? Someone was petrified. Rumble. The 10 great sect masters immediately charged forward without any regard for their lives. One by one, they took out their magic treasures. For a moment, a storm raged in the surroundings. Sand and pebbles flew everywhere. Countless cultivators retreated again and again. As for the 9th rat, who was shouting the loudest, under the sudden chaos, it drilled into the ground. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn 1,000 miles away from the battlefield, 9th rat emerged from the ground. Looking at the chaotic battlefield in the distance, 9th rat sneered, Humph. Bastards, are you crazy? Kong Mok roared amidst the chaos. Protect his majesty. Help! This inexplicable battle lasted for an entire day. Kong Mok sacrificed more than 100 of his subordinates. He returned to his encampment with grievous injuries. As for the disciples of the 10 great sect masters, more than half of them were killed or injured. 4 of the 10 great sect masters died. It was obviously impossible for Kong Mok to subdue these people. Before he left, Kong Mok gradually understood everything. Back at his encampment, bang! He smashed a tea set with a palm. 9th rat, Yin Chuan, I must kill you. Kong Mok roared with red eyes. Chapter 1004. Prophet Buddha picked up his severed arm and reattached it, but the injuries on his body were not something that could be healed in a short period of time. He bitterly said, Your Majesty, I did not expect Ren Shu to be as shameless as the Eastern Orthodox sect. 2 sluts. Kong Mok gritted his teeth. Just as the two were fuming, a white-robed man walked in. It was Kong Daoqiu. Kong Daoqiu frowned and looked at Kong Mok. Kong Mok, how'd you do it? Didn't I tell you? The God Creation Plan competition has already started. The disciples of the Archaic Mysteries sect have already recorded all of your performances. I told you to increase your prestige during this period of time, to stand out among the heroes and subdue as many sects as possible. But what about you? You stood out, but you did such a dirty thing? You're a man? You fought over a man? Even if you're embarrassing yourself, don't do it here. Kong Daoqiu said angrily. Kong Daoqiu was furious, but Kong Mok was even more furious. He had not done anything. He had been slandered. He had been slandered by 2 sluts. After taking a few deep breaths, Kong Mok did not know how to reply to Kong Daoqiu. I'll help you suppress Yin Xin. Don't let anything happen during this period of time, Kong Daoqiu said with a frown. Kong Mok's face twitched. It was as if he was purposely causing trouble. Kong Daoqiu flung his sleeves and left, leaving behind a gloomy Kong Mok. Your Majesty, things have not been going well for us recently. Prophet Buddha sighed with a frown. It's all Yin Chuan's fault. If it wasn't for Yin Chuan, there wouldn't be so much trouble, Kong Mok said with a trace of hatred. Your Majesty suddenly has a feeling, Prophet Buddha said bitterly. Our current situation might not be over yet, Prophet Buddha said with a strange tone. Ma Daoquan's Ningsue Palace was a middle sect in the North Divine Continent. It was also a chess piece that Kong Mok had placed in the North Divine Continent. Ningsue Palace was not far from the archaic Mysteries sect. At this moment, a group of uninvited guests had arrived outside Ningsue Palace. The two leading them were Mohina Dojin and Yang Zigu of the Great Revelation Sacred Ground. Behind Mohina Dojin and his son, there were more than 200 black-robed figures. Each of them was emitting an extremely evil aura. The 200 black-robed figures landed on the summit of a mountain. The evil aura they emitted caused the surrounding flowers and trees to wither instantly. Father, according to the news from the Archaic Arcanum sect, this congealed jade palace is Kong Mok's chess piece? Yang Zigu asked coldly. Mohina Dojin nodded. In the past, Kong Mok brought 20 upper Void Realm experts to the Great Zhao Holy Ground, wanting to subdue us and snatch our Great Zhao Holy Ground. Father, are you going to take revenge today? Yang Zigu asked curiously. That's right, Kong Mok. Humph. Mohina Dojin snorted coldly. Target, Ning Shui Palace. Raze it to the ground. Leave no one alive. Kill, kill, kill. Mohina Dojin ordered. Yes. The black-robed figures behind him replied stiffly. Boom. The 200 black-robed figures charged forward. In an instant, the evil aura around the 200 black-robed figures soared to the sky. Before they arrived, the sky had already been dyed black by the evil aura. The sky darkened in an instant. The group of Ning Shui Palace disciples immediately noticed the abnormality. Two of them instantly rushed out and charged towards a group of black-robed figures. Stop! Who are you? One of them shouted angrily. Boom! The two Ning Shui Palace disciples who rushed out first were instantly smashed into pieces by a black-robed figure's palm. Chapter 1005. Outside the Celestial Arcanum sect, congealed Jade Palace's base. A group of disciples stood in front of Ma Daoquan with their heads lowered, as if they were reporting something. Bastards, a bunch of idiots. Ma Daoquan roared in shame. Kong Mok was the main character of this incident, and Ma Daoquan's image seemed to be even worse. Hearing the reports, Ma Daoquan's face turned black. This slander was too despicable. The disciples were submissive and didn't dare to say anything. Just as Ma Daoquan was about to continue raging, his expression suddenly changed, and he turned to look towards the southeast. Not good. There's a change in congealed Jade Palace's virtue, Cloud Ocean. Ma Daoquan's face changed. Stepping forward, Ma Daoquan was about to go back, but when he turned around, he frowned and said, You, go inform the great Buddha Emperor that someone wants to destroy my congealed Jade Palace. I'll go back first. Yes. The disciple was at a loss. Who? Ma Daoquan brought a group of experts and quickly headed towards congealed Jade Palace. The disciples looked at each other in dismay. Kong Mok's base. What? Someone wants to destroy congealed Jade Palace? Who? Yin Chuan? Rinshu? Kong Mok's face sank. I don't know. Master has already gone and asked me to report to the great Buddha Emperor, the disciple said respectfully. Kong Mok's face was gloomy. Your Majesty, congealed Jade Palace is a middle sect, and this place isn't too far from congealed Jade Palace. If someone wants to destroy congealed Jade Palace, it means that the person is strong. Your Majesty should be careful, Prophet Buddha said while dragging his injuries. Strong strength? Umph. I have a stomach full of anger during this period of time. He's courting death. Kong Mok's face turned cold. Gathering a large number of officials, Kong Mok quickly headed towards Congealed Jade Palace. Congealed Jade Palace. Rumble. 200 black-robed people's evil aura surged into the sky as they crazily attacked the formation. The Congealed Jade Palace's formation shook. Impossible, even 10 fifth-level Upper Void Realm experts can't break my formation. This. A Congealed Jade Palace disciple cried out in terror. Boom! Under another impact, the grand formation shattered with a loud bang. Kill! The 200 black-robed men roared in unison. In an instant, each of them brandished their pitch-black swords. Once the evil chi was released, it instantly dyed the surrounding void black. The entire Ning Chui Palace was shrouded in an evil aura. Help! Impossible! Inside Congealed Jade Palace, screams of agony continued. The 200 black-robed men displayed an extremely demonic strength. It was a one-sided massacre as they crazily massacred the disciples of Solid Jade Palace. Kill! 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 Mohina Dojin and Yang Zigu stood at the peak of a mountain and looked coldly at the scene before them. In the Congealed Emerald Palace, there were several million disciples. In an instant, their internal organs and limbs were sent flying, and their blood was turned into mist by the experts. The entire Congealed Emerald Palace was shrouded in blood mist. Father, in the past few decades, the strength of this group of people has been raised by you to the upper void stage. Father, you're too amazing. Even Jingming in the past couldn't compare to you. Yang Zigu cried out excitedly. Mohina Dojin smiled with satisfaction, but he still shook his head and said, Don't speak ill of Jingming. Huh? Yang Zigu didn't understand. Narrowing his eyes, Mohina Dojin sighed slightly and said, The current me is still not her match, but one day we will reach the same height as her. We? Yang Zigu was at a loss. Mohina Dojin shook his head and didn't explain. Chapter 1006. The two of them continued to watch the massacre. Whoosh! A ray of light shot over from afar. Ma Daoquan had arrived at Ning Chui Palace with a group of experts. Ma Daoquan was enraged when he saw the massacre. Bastard! Bastard! Ma Daoquan roared as he took out his saber and charged into the battlefield. Boom! He forced a black-robed man back with his saber. However, the black-robed man quickly reacted. One of them might not be able to defeat you, but 10 of them? Roar! The group of black-robed men charged at Ma Daoquan. In the blink of an eye, Ma Daoquan's group was dragged into the battlefield. Oomph! Mohina Dojin sneered. Palace Master, save me. Cries of agony could be heard. The black-robed men were all at the Upper Void Realm. Although they were the weakest Upper Void Realm, there were 200 of them. How could a middle-level sect be a match for them? Kill! 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 When Kong Mok arrived, Ning Chui Palace was almost completely wiped out. Kong Mok brought more than 100 officials with him. His expression changed. The black-robed men destroyed Ning Chui Palace. They destroyed his forces in the North Divine Continent. Roar! Kong Mok roared angrily. Your Majesty, save me. Ma Daoquan roared in the battlefield. Attack! Kong Mok shouted. Yes. Boom! A group of experts charged into the battlefield. Kong Mok also charged into the battlefield. Mohina Dojin's face lit up with joy. Protect my son. Mohina Dojin shouted to the black-robed men behind him. Yes. The group of black-robed men replied. Whoosh! Mohina Dojin charged into the battlefield and appeared in front of Kong Mok in the blink of an eye. Mohina Dojin, it's you. Kong Mok's eyes flashed with anger. Mohina Dojin sneered. Kong Mok, it's impolite not to reciprocate. Don't leave a single one alive. Kill them all. Yes. The black-robed man with an evil aura immediately rushed forward. Kill them. Kong Mok shouted coldly. Yes, a group of officials quickly rushed into the battlefield. However, Kong Mok soon discovered that something was amiss. That was because those black-robed men were simply too powerful. Rumble. In the blink of an eye, Kong Mok's subordinates were all suppressed. Today, none of you can leave. Mohina, Dojin sneered. Might of the sun, Mohina, Dojin shouted, and a huge golden light shot down from the sun, instantly enveloping Mohina Dojin. Mohina Dojin's body was covered in flames. Purple Star. Kong Mo-ku also activated the power of the stars. Suddenly, the Emperor's star shot out a dazzling light. Mohina Dojin and Kong Mo-ku fought fiercely. Boom! A monster storm swept up in all directions. Kong Mo-ku and Mohina Dojin were in a deadlock, while the black-robed men were constantly slaughtering Kong Mo-ku's officials. Your Majesty, save me! The officials cried out in Jiahu. Among the officials, Palace Master Ning Chui could no longer hold on and was killed by the 10 black-robed men. The 10 victorious black-robed men quickly rushed in front of Kong Mo-ku. Together with Mohina Dojin, they surrounded Kong Mo-ku and killed him. No, impossible. Kong Mo-ku shouted in shock. At this moment, Kong Mo-ku was actually suppressed by a group of black-robed men and Mohina Dojin. This was something that would have been impossible in the past. The power of the group of experts was like a miniature black hole, strangling Kong Mo-ku in the center. Yang Zigu held a huge round wheel in his hand that was like a sun, pressing down on Kong Mo-ku's long blade. Chapter 1007. Crack, crack, crack. Kong Mo-ku was in a sorry state. No! Kong Mo-ku screamed. He had yet to conquer the world, and he had yet to defeat all the heroes in the world. How did he die here? Kong Mo-ku's eyes were bloodshot. He was fighting against 20 people by himself as he fought against Mohina Dojin. Kong Mo-ku, today is the day you die. Mohina Dojin roared as he activated his Dharma treasure. Rumble! The air around them exploded violently. It seemed like Kong Mo-ku was about to die. Suddenly, a powerful aura descended from the sky. A huge bamboo slip came crashing down from the sky. The black-robed men's expressions changed when they sensed the enormous aura. 10 black-robed men shot up into the sky and slashed at the bamboo slip with their swords. However, the bamboo slip crushed everything into powder. Boom! The 10 black-robed men at the first-level upper void stage were instantly blasted away along with their swords. The huge bamboo slip came crashing down on Mohina Dojin. Mohina Dojin's expression changed, and he slammed the huge round wheel in his hand into the sky. Boom! The huge round wheel only lasted for a moment before it could no longer withstand the impact. It was a disaster that came crashing down on Mohina Dojin. Father! Yang Zigu cried out in shock from afar. After losing Mohina Dojin's encirclement, the pressure on Kong Mo-ku was greatly reduced. While blocking the black-robed men, Kong Mo-ku saw the bamboo slip in the sky. Kong Daoqiu stood on top of the bamboo slip. Kong Daoqiu stepped on the bamboo slip and pressed down with an unstoppable force. Celestial? Mohina Dojin's expression changed. Maori, you've crossed the line. Kong Daoqiu said coldly. Mohina Dojin's expression hardened. Cross the line? I'm the one who set the line. Celestial? So what? Mohina Dojin's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. Above Mohina Dojin's head, a black lotus flower suddenly appeared. The lotus flower spun slowly, and large amounts of black energy surged into Mohina Dojin's body. Mohina Dojin instantly turned pitch black, and at the same time, an extremely powerful and ferocious aura emanated from his body. As soon as the aura appeared, Kong Mok's expression changed. Stronger than last time? Kong Mok asked in surprise. Mohina Dojin punched the bamboo scroll. With a single punch, a gigantic pitch-black fist aura appeared. Boom! The fist energy collided with the bamboo slip, and the bamboo slip paused for a moment. Humph! Kong Daoqiu's aura of righteousness suddenly burst out, and white light radiated from the bamboo scroll. The bamboo slips sank again. Mohina Dojin's expression changed. It was obvious that he could no longer stop the bamboo slips from sinking. Lotus God, lend me your strength. Lend me your strength. Mohina Dojin roared. With a roar, the lotus flower above his head suddenly surged with violent black energy again, and the black energy surged into Mohina Dojin's body. Crackle, crackle, crackle. Two enormous horns suddenly sprouted from Downlord Black Sun's head. Mohina Dojin's strength rose again. Boom! The fist aura exploded with even greater power, and the surrounding forest and land were instantly flattened by the aftershock. Even Kong Daoqiu was separated from Mohina Dojin by this ferocious force. Boom! Waves of air surged. The battle stopped. Kong Daoqiu pulled Kong Mok and retreated far away. All the officials of the Great Buddha Empire were dead, and none were left alive. Almost 100 of Mohina Dojin's subordinates had died, but there were still more than 100 black-robed men supporting Yang Zigu. Mohina Dojin, with horns on his head and a black lotus flower above his head, looked at Kong Mok and Kong Daoqiu with a ferocious expression. Roar! Mohina Dojin roared coldly. He looked at Mohina Dojin in shock. Kong Daoqiu took a deep breath and said with an ugly expression, "Let's go." He pulled Kong Mok and shot away. Mohina Dojin did not chase after them, and he watched coldly as the two left. On the way back, Kong Daoqiu's expression was ugly, as if he was thinking of something. Kong Mok was the same. Not only had he lost, but more than 100 of his officials had died, and even Ning Chui Palace had been destroyed. Everything was not going well. It was more than that. Chapter 1008. Fairy Palace. Yin Chuan held a document in his hand while Li Si stood in front of him. Your Majesty, this is how congealed Jade Palace was destroyed. It seems like the myriad profundity demonic lotus that Mohina Dojin refined is really extraordinary. Not only did it allow Mohina Dojin to fight against Kong Daoqiu, who was a celestial, but it also raised the strength of all 200 disciples to the first-level upper void stage. Li Si said in a deep voice. Yin Chuan took a look and passed the information to Bai Ditian. Bai Ditian quickly scanned through it. Finally, he smiled. Meng Sansheng, Mohina Dojin, there's still a lot of magical treasures and evil techniques in this world. Bai Ditian's words were very vague. He was sighing at Yin Chuan's dream of the heavenly secrets. The dream of the heavenly secrets was too miraculous, but there were countless secret techniques in the world. There might be some that could compare to it, just like what Mohina Dojin had done. Downlord Black Sun hadn't been idle for the past 50 years. Downlord Black Sun hadn't been idle either. Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes, then nodded and said, Another immortal? The great Zhun imperial dynasty must ascend to the celestial dynasty as soon as possible. After this battle, we must find a way to pacify the great Zhao holy ground and obtain immeasurable merit to increase our providence and ascend to the celestial dynasty. Yes, Li Si replied. Your Majesty, this is the information I've collected during this period of time. It's the topographic map of the various sects encampments. Li Si handed over another map. Yin Chuan took it, looked at it, and nodded. Li Qing, you've worked hard. It's my duty. Li Si smiled. Yin Chuan nodded. It starts tomorrow. I wonder how much we will be able to gain from this election. Yin Chuan sighed slightly. While everyone was talking, the Holy Maiden stepped into the Grand Hall. Everyone fell silent and looked at the Holy Maiden. Fairy walked in front of Yin Chuan. Although he could not see, there was a complicated expression on his face. The rules are out? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Zhao Afang nodded and handed over 2 jade talismans. Yin Xin has already sent all her disciples to inform the various elites. Every organization will receive 2 life talismans, said Zhao Afang. Taking the jade talisman, Yin Chuan asked curiously, Life talisman? The Celestial Arcanum sect is shrouded in the divine slaying life formation, which is the fog outside. Once the divine slaying life formation is activated, it will directly affect the birth chart and seal the power of the birth chart. No matter how strong one is, they will be bound to be immortal. Zhao Afang explained. God's slashing life array. Yin Chuan's expression froze. These life talismans can counteract the power of the divine slashing life formation. Each side will have 2 of them, which means that you can only have one assistant. By then, the sea of fog will be hundreds of feet tall, and the area it occupies will be 10 times larger, covering all the bases. As long as you are forced out of the fog sea, you will be eliminated until the last person appears. Zhao Afang explained. Yin Chuan nodded. During this time, can you see me? Yes, I and everyone in the Celestial Arcanum sect can use the life-stealing art to see everything inside. Zhao Afang nodded. Yin Chuan smiled and nodded. Seeing Zhao Afang leave, Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with reluctance. Your Majesty, you seem to treat Fairy very differently? Li Si asked curiously. Differently? If I say she is my wife, would you believe me? Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Oh, Li Si was surprised. At the same time, he seemed to be analyzing the authenticity of Huang Xiaolong's words. All right, all of you can fly out. By Ditian, and I will be enough. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Yes. Lu Jin and Li Si answered. Chapter 1009. The Celestial Arcanum sect's sea of fog began to expand. In the blink of an eye, it had expanded by 10 times, enveloping all the encampments. At the same time, the Celestial Arcanum sect's disciples, like Zhao Afang, flew to all the encampments and explained the rules. In a valley, Yao Tianshang and Bai stood with their hands behind their backs. It's about to begin. Have you gathered all the information? Bai asked. Yao Tianshang nodded seriously. Yes, everything is here. Haha, the god's fate array before us is a good hunting ground. We will set off at midnight to subdue at least 4 sect leaders of the northern divine continent. Bai said seriously. At Kong Mok's base, Kong Daoqiu and Kong Mok stood together. Have you sent everyone away? Kong Daoqiu asked. Yes. Kong Mok nodded. You have suffered a great loss in the battle with the Archaic Mysteries sect. The Archaic Mysteries sect no longer thinks highly of you. However, it's not over yet. As long as you win, there is still hope. Kong Daoqiu sighed. We will. With you and me together, no one can stop us. Kong Mok said solemnly. Kong Daoqiu looked at Kong Mok with a complicated expression. At Mohina Dojin's base. Father, it's about to begin? Is the Archaic Mysteries sect really that powerful? Yang Zigu asked curiously. I don't know, but back then, Jing Ting held him in high esteem. Rumor has it that his Tao of seizing fate can even reverse the heavenly secrets. Don't worry, I'll definitely help you win the championship. Tao Lord Black Sun said solemnly. Thank you, Father. Yang Zigu said emotionally. At midnight, the Archaic Mysteries sect was surrounded by fog. However, there were many mountains that were more than 100 zhang tall. At the peak of the Archaic Mysteries mountain, a group of Archaic Mysteries sect disciples stood beside Zhao Afang and looked down at the fog sea. At midnight, the selection began. In the distance, there were many experts standing on the peaks of the mountains. These people could not participate and could only wait at the peak. At the peak of a mountain, the strength of the people in the fog sea is different. Won't the weaker ones be finished? Dongfang Zhengpai asked curiously. However, Li Si shook his head and said, No, the weak have their advantages. They can easily form alliances and form alliances. In this election, the process will not matter, only the results. Just as the countless cultivators in the surroundings guessed, the first loud sound rang out in the fog sea. Boom! With a loud bang, a large amount of sand and stones flew into the sky. However, the fog did not roll over at all. It was as if the fog was not affected by the impact at all. Clearly, an internal battle had begun. Inside the fairy palace, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian stood at the entrance of the hall. It's starting, let's go. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. With a flick of his robe, Yin Chuan led by Ditian into the fog. Yin Chuan had a goal in mind. He bypassed the experts and headed straight for the blood-sealing sex encampment. Boom, boom, boom. When Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian arrived, the blood-sealing sex encampment was in the midst of an intense battle. The blood-sealing sect master brought along an elder and was currently engaged in a fierce battle with two other experts. Roar! Scarlet Red sect master, you are crazy. The blood-sealing sect master shouted anxiously. Chun Shui, there's only one champion. Without you, my chances of becoming the champion are higher. The Scarlet Red sect master smiled. Idiot, with our abilities, what are we compared to the other heroes? Can you defeat Kong Mok? Can you defeat Mohina Dojin and the others? We need to form an alliance and chase out those heroes first, Chun Shui shouted. Chapter 10:10. The Scarlet Red sect master frowned slightly, as if he had realized something. His hand had also slowed down significantly. Who is it? Chun Shui suddenly exclaimed. Not far away, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian were watching quietly. Yin Chuan? Not good. The Scarlet Red sect master exclaimed. Scarlet Red sect master, let's stop fighting first. Let's force Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian out first. Chun Shui shouted. All right. The Scarlet Red sect master nodded. Yin Chuan smiled faintly as the two charged out. Stop right there. The Scarlet Red sect master's expression changed. However, in an instant, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian arrived in front of him. Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian each attacked the Scarlet Red sect master and Bai Ditian. Boom! Bai Ditian clawed, and the person following the Scarlet Red sect master flew into the air. Yin Chuan's fist also clashed with the Scarlet Red sect master's fist. Get out! Yin Chuan glared. The Scarlet Red sect master was sent flying into the air. No! Why is it like this? The Scarlet Red sect master exclaimed gloomily. Boom! The Scarlet Red sect master flew 300 meters and lost his qualification in the blink of an eye. The Scarlet Red sect master was not severely injured, but he lost his qualification in the blink of an eye. This made the Scarlet Red sect master very depressed. After flying out of the fog, the life talisman in his hand suddenly shattered. Without the protection of the life talisman, the Scarlet Red sect master no longer had the courage to continue. Sect master, what should we do? The elder of the side asked. The Scarlet Red sect master's expression turned ugly as he said, What do you mean, what should we do? Go back. Below, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian surrounded the Scarlet Red sect master and Bai Ditian. Chun Shui's expression changed as he tried to flee. Chun Shui was indeed an upper void realm cultivator, but he was much weaker than Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian. If he fought head-on, he would end up like the Scarlet Red sect master. Sect master, wait! Yin Chuan shouted. Chun Shui looked at Yin Chuan in surprise and doubt, but he still made a gesture of fleeing. Sect leader Chun, so what if you manage to escape today? Your Blood Seal sect is close to my Great Jun Imperial Dynasty. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Blood Sealing sect? Close to the Jun? Chun Shui's expression changed. Yin Chuan, what is the meaning of this? Chun Shui's face was dark as he looked at Yin Chuan. At this moment, he was unwilling to leave. Just now, Sect Master Chun advised the Scarlet Blood Sect Master. I can see that Sect Master Chun is a smart person. Naturally, you can see through my intentions. Yin Chuan said with a smile. You want my Blood Sealing sect to submit? Chun Shui sneered. Looking at Chun Shui, Yin Chuan said, Sovereign Chun, you should know very well how high your chances of success are in the Celestial Arcanum sect's God-making plan. Compared to me and Kong Mok, how high are your chances of success? Even if you are lucky, can the blood-sealing sect's power in the East Divine continent stop the Great Jun and Great Zhao? Chun Shui's expression changed. You are about to make a move? Not just us. The entire world is making a move. Why is the Celestial Arcanum sect in such a hurry to start the God-making plan? Even in the upcoming Great Calamity, The Celestial Arcanum sect is not confident of surviving alone, Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Great calamity? The Celestial Arcanum sect is also. Chen Shui exclaimed in shock. At the same time, his expression changed. Chen Shui had felt this for a long time, but he was never willing to admit it. Sect Master Chen, you are indeed a genius to have single-handedly established the blood-sealing sect. However, you must know that even these great sects with tens of thousands of years of history are not confident of surviving. What can you do? I believe you have already known that the Julu Academy has sent Sima Yuntian to my great Jun as a subject. How is your blood-sealing sect compared to the Julu Academy? How is your blood-sealing sect compared to the Celestial Arcanum sect? Yin Chuan took a step forward. Chen Shui looked at Yin Chuan with a complicated expression. The blood-sealing sect is near my great Jun and also borders the great Zhao Holy Ground. My great Jun Imperial Dynasty and the great Zhao Holy Ground are about to have a decisive battle. Do you think the blood-sealing sect can survive alone? Yin Chuan smiled. What? You want to have a decisive battle with the great Zhao Holy Ground? Chen Shui exclaimed in shock. What does the great Zhao Holy Land count for now without the capital? Chen Shui, your talent. The Great Jin Empire urgently needs talents like you. The Great Jin Empire is about to take another step forward and become a heavenly empire. As long as you lead the blood-sealing sect to the Great Jin Empire as a subject, you will be opening up new territory for the Great Jin Empire. That will be a great achievement. After that, you will be able to enjoy the same karmic rank as you are now. How about it? Yin Chuan persuaded. I, Yin Chuan, promise to treat the blood-sealing sect well. I will treat all the subjects of the Great Jin Empire equally. Yin Chuan persuaded once more. Chen Shui's expression was extremely ugly. Sect Master, an elder at the side, said anxiously, "Don't be noisy. Let me think." Chen Shui took a deep breath and said. At the side, Yin Chuan and Bai Diqian waited patiently. Chapter 10-11. After a moment of silence, the blood-sealing sect master hesitated. Sect Master, you are at the upper void realm. As long as you gather the virtue energy of the sect, no one can do anything to our blood-sealing sect. An elder said anxiously, Ha ha, no one could do anything to us. Not long ago, Congealed Jade Palace was destroyed. Dozens of years ago, our great Jun army's generals each took down a middle-level sect. The world is in chaos. Sect Master Chun, are you sure you can fight for supremacy in this chaotic world? Yin Chuan asked again. The elder, this. Chen Shui thought for a moment, then looked at Yin Chuan and said, Yin Di, I want to know when you will send out your troops. After this battle, Great Jun will send troops to attack the Great Zhao Holy Ground. Yin Chuan said with certainty. Yin Chuan's affirmation dispelled all of Chen Shui's doubts. He smiled bitterly and said, What kind of treatment will Yin Di give my blood-sealing sect? Sect Master, you can't. My blood-sealing sect may not. The elder said anxiously. Chen Shui waved his hand to calm the elder. Shaking his head, he said, I was the one who founded the blood-sealing sect. I'm even more reluctant to part with it than you are. However, I understand myself even more. Reaching the level of a middle-level sect is my current limit. Perhaps in a few thousand years, my strength will have taken a qualitative leap, and I will have even greater ambitions. But right now, I understand my position even more clearly. Elder Ma, you don't need to say anything more. Yes. The elder nodded angrily. Indeed, this one has studied your history. A promise is worth 1,000 gold. I hope Yindi will treat blood-sealing sect well. Chen Shui bowed heavily. At the same time, Chen Shui took out blood-sealing sect's Tiansu. The elder could only kneel down unwillingly. Don't worry. I, Yin Chuan, will do what I say. From today onwards, I bestow upon Chen Shui the title of Blood-Sealing Uncle. The disciples of Blood-Sealing sect will be conferred another title at a later date. Yin Chuan nodded. This subject, Blood-Sealing Uncle Chen Shui, greets your majesty. Chen Shui bowed respectfully. In the distant east divine continent, above the sea of merit clouds of blood-sealing sect, there was a sudden explosion. Boom! The surging merit flowed towards the great Zhun imperial dynasty, and nearly half of it was lost in the blink of an eye. Countless disciples of the blood-sealing sect looked at the sky in surprise. What happened? Why did my blood-sealing sect lose so much merit points? Sect Master, what happened? Countless disciples were Zhou, while countless officials of the great Zhun imperial dynasty were looking at the surging providence in the sky with a look of pleasant surprise. As for the other half of the merit points, they would have to wait for Chen Shui to return and inform all the disciples before it would all flow to the great Jin Empire. Inside the sharpening godlife array, in another place, Zhu and Yao Tianshang were currently looking at the two men kneeling on one knee in front of them. The True Self sect, Wang Zhen, and the entire True Self sect are willing to serve the Yao imperial dynasty as subjects and pay our respects to your majesty. May your majesty live for 10,000 years. A kneeling man said respectfully. Ha! My beloved minister, please rise. I, Zhu, am a man of my word, and I will not let you down, Zhu said with a smile. In the East Divine Continent and North Divine Continent, large amounts of merit points were surging violently, and countless merit points were being transferred and converted. Yin Chuan and Zhu continued to move around, and according to their information, they were constantly recruiting experts. Of course, there were many experts who were not willing at all. When the two of them tried to recruit them, they immediately went berserk. However, the two of them did not mind. The hunting ground was huge, and if one place was not enough, there were many more. At Kong Mok's location, Sect Master Ma, do you think your sect can stop the great Buddha imperial dynasty? Are you really not willing to submit to me? Kong Mok looked coldly at the two men who were bleeding from the corners of their mouths. Sect Master Ma wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said, Humph, Kong Mok, a warrior can be killed, but not humiliated. You pervert. I have already seen through you. I will not be subdued by you. Tui, let's go. Sect Master Ma brought a junior brother and soared into the sky, giving up on the opportunity in the blink of an eye. They flew out of the fog. Subdued? Kong Mok was slightly stunned. Then, Kong Mok reacted and said angrily, Submit your sister. At the side, Kong Daochio's expression was also ugly. Your mess is already deeply ingrained in people's hearts. Kong Daochio was speechless. Kong Mok's eyes were red with hatred. Yin Chuan, Dongfang faction, Rinshu, one day, I will kill all of you. Boom, boom, boom. One by one, the cultivators were forced out of Great Zhun, and one by one, the experts were eliminated. Some of the experts who were eliminated stayed on the peaks of the surrounding mountains, waiting for the final result. However, there were some people who turned around and left. Within the array, the battles continued. 10 days and 10 nights later, most of the experts had been forced out. Beside a small lake, Zhu, Yao, Tianshang, and 8 other cultivators looked coldly at the two people opposite them, Kong Daochio and Kong Mok. Zhu faced Kong Daochio. 30,000 years ago, the strongest person in the world? Kong Daochio said in a low voice. Zhu narrowed his eyes and said, 30,000 years ago, the Kong clan did not exist. Mafei, is your Kong clan from the celestial world? Kong Daochio smiled and did not explain. Are you not going to give in? Kong Daochio said in a low voice. Those who should have left have already left. There is no need to give in. Celestial? I also want to know how strong and celestial is. Huh. Zhu's eyes flashed with a strange light. I also want to know how strong the strongest person in this world is other than Jing Ting. Kong Daochio's eyes flashed with a strange light. Boom! The two of them instantly charged forward. Their palms collided, and a huge impact exploded within the slash godlife array. On the other side, Yao Tianshang led the other 8 experts and attacked Kong Mok from all sides. In another valley, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian had already subdued 8 subordinates. At this moment, they were looking at the other two. It was as if they were forcing the other person to agree. Sect Leader Wu, look behind me. The 4 sects behind me have already joined Great Jun. What does this mean? Yin Chuan smiled. Sect Leader Wu's face darkened. What? It means the people's hearts, the situation, and the will of the heavens. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Sect Leader Wu squinted his eyes, and his face turned ugly. Looking at the 4 sect leaders who had already submitted to Great Jun, Sect Leader Wu's heart was filled with unwillingness. Just as Yin Chuan had said, joining Great Jun now was to open up new territory for Great Jun. Once Great Jun sent troops to take them back, they would have nothing left. Yet, they had submitted to Great Jun just like that. Sect Leader Wu's face changed drastically. Yin Chuan led 9 people and forced Sect Leader Wu and his disciple to submit. The battle in the distance continued, but the atmosphere was extremely tense. Haha, Yin Chuan, you are really ambitious. Suddenly, a cold laugh sounded. Yin Chuan and the others turned to look. Mohina Dojin and Yang Zigu were standing halfway up a mountain. At this moment, they were looking coldly at Yin Chuan and the others. Mohina Dojin? Yin Chuan's face darkened. Chapter 10:12. Yin Chuan's eyes flashed coldly as he took a step forward. Bai Ditian saw Yin Chuan's actions and understood that Yin Chuan did not want him to interfere. Morning, Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Mohina Dojin also looked coldly at Yin Chuan. Great Emperor Dejun, what I just hear? Are you prepared to attack my great Zhao holy ground? Mohina Dojin asked coldly. Mohina Dojin's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He was forcing Yin Chuan to admit it. If Yin Chuan did not admit it, it would show that Yin Chuan was weak and these subjects would betray Yin Chuan. However, if Yin Chuan admitted it, Mohina Dojin would not mind killing Yin Chuan right now. Everyone looked at Yin Chuan seriously. Yin Chuan smiled and said in a low voice, a great Zhao without Jingming is no longer a great Zhao. Morning, we do not have much enmity between us. However, your son Yang Zigu has tried to kill me many times. If you hand Yang Zigu over to me, my great Zhao will be at peace with your great Zhao. You Yin Chuan, Yang Zigu shouted in shock. Ha 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 ha. Mohina Dojin laughed loudly. His laughter was filled with murderous intent. As he laughed, his face turned sinister and a huge ball-shaped treasure appeared in his hand. Once the treasure appeared, it emitted a scorching light that suppressed Yin Chuan. Xing! The Jade Emperor's sword appeared and a blood-red light shot towards the huge ball. Boom! The huge explosion flattened all the mountains and rivers in all directions. Yin Chuan held the Jade King's sword and coldly looked at Mohina Dojin, who was holding the giant ball. I'm no longer the same as I was back then. Do you think you can do anything to me with just this little trick? I heard that you have already refined the 10,000 Wonders Demonic Lotus. Take out the 10,000 Wonders Demonic Lotus, Yin Chuan coldly said. At the same time, he wanted to know just how strange the myriad wonder Demonic Lotus was. Mohina Dojin's face sank. Then he sneered. Since you're courting death, then don't blame me. As he spoke, the spherical Dharma treasure in Mohina Dojin's hand covered Yang Zigu to protect Yang Zigu. Following that, a black lotus slowly floated above Mohina Dojin's head. The lotus slowly rotated, emitting an extremely evil aura. In the blink of an eye, it dyed Mohina Dojin pitch black. Rumble. The flames around Mohina Dojin's body suddenly rose. The huge aura caused the surrounding soil to move. Although Yin Chuan was confident, he did not act rashly. Instead, his pupils shrank and turned blood red. At the same time, Yin Chuan's hair suddenly grew long and turned blood red. Roar! Yin Chuan, who was holding the Jade King's sword, was suddenly surrounded by a bloody mist. Under his feet, a huge sea of blood suddenly appeared on the ground. The sea of blood roiled as Yin Chuan stood on top of it. The sea of blood continued to revolve around him as if a demon god had descended. The powerful aura was not any weaker than Mohina Dojin's. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the sea of blood surged towards Downward Black Sun. Oomph. Mohina Dojin's eyes turned cold. He formed a lotus hand seal with his hand. Boom! A huge black lotus illusion suddenly appeared on top of the sea of blood. Mohina Dojin stood on top of this huge black lotus illusion. The black lotus slowly rotated together with the 10,000 Wonders demonic lotus above Maori's head. In an instant, billowing evil aura rushed into the sea of blood. 10,000 swords, Yin Chuan coldly shouted. Suddenly, countless blood swords rushed out from the sea of blood and rushed towards Mohina Dojin. However, the evil aura quickly corroded. Yin Chuan sneered and threw the Jade King's sword towards the sea of blood. Chapter 10:13. Whoosh! The Jade Emperor's sword seemed to produce a strong suction force as it started to absorb the evil aura. How is that possible? Mohina Dojin exclaimed. How could the evil aura be absorbed by the sword? Slash! The Jade Emperor's sword slashed towards Mohina Dojin. Mohina Dojin opened his lotus hand seal as another lotus flew towards the Jade Emperor's sword. Boom! The sword and lotus clashed as a shockwave surged through the blood sea. Tens of thousands of sword chi waves rushed towards Mohina Dojin, but Mohina Dojin was safe and sound under the protection of the Black Lotus. Jade Emperor, take! Yin Chuan shouted. Boom! The Jade Emperor's sword suddenly absorbed all the evil aura in the Black Lotus as it slashed towards Mohina Dojin again. How is that possible? 10,000 lotuses bloom, Mohina Dojin exclaimed. In an instant, a large number of black lotuses flew towards Yin Chuan. The Jade Emperor's sword in the air seemed to produce countless sword shadows as it clashed with the black lotuses. At the same time, the black lotuses were absorbed. In an instant, the 10,000 lotuses were destroyed. No, what sword is this? How can it restrain my evil lotus? Mohina Dojin exclaimed. As he spoke, Mohina Dojin quickly took out a long sword and clashed with the Jade Emperor's sword. Boom! The sword blocked the Jade Emperor's sword, but the evil aura could not stop the Jade Emperor's sword from absorbing it. Lotus God, help me! Mohina Dojin exclaimed. Yin Chuan's eyes widened as he shouted, Bai Di Tian! Whoosh! Bai Di Tian understood and reached out to grab Yang Zigu. Boom! The round wheel that was protecting Yang Zigu instantly shone with golden light. Yang Zigu, who was inside, was still affected by the shockwave. Father, save me! Yang Zigu exclaimed. When Mohina Dojin asked the Lotus God for help, the lotus flower above his head once again emitted an extremely evil aura, which surged into Mohina Dojin's body. A pair of huge horns quickly grew out of his head, and Mohina Dojin's strength skyrocketed. At this moment, Yang Zigu's Jiaohu came through. Bastard! Despicable! Mohina Dojin roared and pounced on Yang Zigu. Jade Emperor, slash! Above the blood sea, the Jade Emperor's sword slashed out a massive sword aura towards Mohina Dojin. If Mohina Dojin were to save Yang Zigu, he would definitely be injured. If they did not save him, Bai Di Tian would definitely attack again. Mohina Dojin did not hold back as the sword aura slashed towards Bai Di Tian. Bai Di Tian's expression changed as he countered with a palm strike. Boom! A powerful aura surged into the sky, and the entire battlefield was filled with the sound of explosions. Bam! Bai Di Tian was sent flying back 1,000 feet by Mohina Dojin's palm strike. However, the Jade Emperor's sword instantly chopped off Mohina Dojin's left arm. Mohina Dojin reached out and grabbed the severed arm. He then looked at Yang Zigu, who had been saved. Within the giant sphere, Yang Zigu had been knocked unconscious by Bai Di Tian, but he was still fine. Mohina Dojin heaved a sigh of relief. Yin Chuan, I will come and find you again. Next time you will die. With that, Mohina Dojin soared into the sky and instantly left with Yang Zigu. As he watched Mohina Dojin leave, Yin Chuan frowned deeply. Something was not right. Mohina Dojin had borrowed the Lotus God's strength. At that moment, his aura had been very strong. Even a super mystical ability could not deal with it. That was why Bai Detian had chased after Yang Zigu to distract Mohina Dojin. However, Mohina Dojin's actions just now had made it seem like he would rather take a hit than let Yang Zigu get injured. His beloved son. If it had been someone else, Yin Chuan might have believed it. However, decades ago, Mohina Dojin had not cared about the lives of his other children. This made Yin Chuan understand that Mohina Dojin was a heartless person. Would such a person not care about his own life for his son? Chapter 10:14. This Yang Ziga definitely had a huge secret. Also, Lotus God? Who was Lotus God? The energy released by the myriad profundity demonic lotus in that instant made Yin Chuan realize that this wasn't the energy of the myriad profundity demonic lotus itself. Instead, it was an extremely powerful mighty figure that was transmitting this energy to Tao Lord Black Sunday. Congratulations, Your Majesty, for severely injuring Mohina Dojin. Chen Shui shouted from not far away. The other officials also hurried over to congratulate him. Yin Chuan's mind was filled with thoughts, but he still nodded and echoed the crowd. Phew! The blood sea disappeared, and Yin Chuan turned to look at the two people that he was about to subdue. The two of them were hesitant previously, but when they looked at Yin Chuan again, they immediately understood. I am willing to lead the entire sect to submit to the Zhen Imperial Dynasty. Long live Your Majesty. Sect leader Wu bowed respectfully to Yin Chuan. Celestial Arcanum Sect South. Mohina Dojin brought everyone and flew towards the southeast. On the way, Yang Zigu gradually regained consciousness. Father, I am the one who dragged you down, Yang Zigu said bitterly. Mohina Dojin grabbed his severed arm and reattached it to his body. The severed arm was quickly reattached and recovered in a blink of an eye. Mohina Dojin shook his head and said, "It's nothing. The Jade Emperor's sword only absorbed some of my blood. I underestimated Yin Chuan. Father, if I was not the one who dragged you down, with your strength, you would definitely be able to kill Yin Chuan on the spot. Father, the people from the Dezhao Holy Ground, as long as they are demonized by you, they would be incomparably powerful. Demonize me too," Yang Zigu said longingly. You? No, you must maintain your pure body. Mohina Dojin shook his head and said, But father, this time, Yang Zigu said anxiously. Don't say anymore. Celestial Arcanum Sect? It's nothing. I have the help of the Lotus God. As long as that day comes, the entire world will be mine. Mohina Dojin said solemnly. But didn't you say that the Celestial Arcanum Sect in the Immortal Realm also? That's because I didn't understand the strength of the Lotus God. Just now I already felt it. Celestial Arcanum Sect? So what if it was the Tianji Sect of the Immortal World? In front of the Lotus God, you are nothing. Mohina Dojin said disdainfully. As for Yin Chuan, it won't be long. Once the time is up, all of them will die. Mohina Dojin's eyes flashed with madness. Time? When? Yang Zigu asked curiously. Inside the sharpening god-life array. Zhu versus Kong Daoqiu. Rumble. As the two of them faced each other, ripples of airflow spread out in all directions. No one could get close to them within a radius of 10,000 miles. Open. Zhu's eyes turned cold. Boom. The two of them separated, and the ground they were standing on turned into a huge crater with a diameter of 10,000 miles. The two of them looked at each other coldly. It was as if neither of them had won. However, in the next moment, Kong Daoqiu's expression changed as he looked at the sky not far away. Kong Mok had been forced out of the fog. He stood in the sky with an extremely ugly expression. Kong Daoqiu was stunned. Kong Mok was too disappointing. He was disqualified just like that. Kong Daoqiu again? Zhu sneered. Ha ha, Zhu. It seems like I have underestimated you. Kong Daoqiu's voice contained a trace of hostility. Zhu shook his head and said, If it was in the past, I would have fought with you. However, this time, the choice of the Celestial Arcanum Sect is at stake. I need the Celestial Arcanum Sect. Therefore, I have no choice but to use this method. If there is another chance in the future, I will fight with you fair and square. Not far away, Yao Tianshang flew over slowly with 8 people. Zhu's goal was to stall Kong Daoqiu so that Yao Tianshang and the other 8 could force Kong Mok out of the array and disqualify him. Kong Daoqiu looked at the crowd and finally let out an angry laugh. Ha ha ha, Zhu. No one has ever made me so angry. Ha ha. I will remember you. As he spoke, Kong Daoqiu flew out of the array. He did not want to fight anymore, because there was no point in fighting anymore. If he won, he would lose. If he lost, he would lose. He flew past Kong Mok. He looked at Kong Mok, who had a look of disappointment on his face. Kong Daoqiu walked towards the west and left alone. Kong Mok's face twitched. Chapter 10:15. Kong Mok left the archaic Arcanum sect with the remaining 100 or so officials. Kong Mok's face darkened as he rode on the dragon horse. The officials followed behind him, but no one dared to say anything. Only the Prophet Buddha dared to step forward. Your Majesty, this trip is not going well. Let's go back. The Prophet Buddha advised. Go back. Kong Mok's face darkened even more. It was the same as the last time. No, it was even worse than the last time. Kong Daoqiu was disappointed in losing the right to participate in the God-making plan. More than half of his officials were killed, and his reputation was ruined. Kong Mok's heart bled as he thought of this. All of this started with Yin Chuan. It all started with Yin Chuan. Your Majesty, no, we can't go back like this. Go to the great Jin Empire. Go to Yinjing. I want to destroy Yinjing first. I want Yin Chuan to pay the price. Kong Mok roared. The Prophet Buddha wanted to stop him, but when he saw the hatred in Kong Mok's eyes, he knew that he couldn't stop him. Sigh. The Prophet Buddha sighed. Forget it. Yin Chuan and by Ditian aren't in Yinjing. Yinjing shouldn't be a threat. Let's go to Yinjing. Kong Mok roared. Yes. The officials replied. East Divine Continent, Great Jin Empire, Yinjing. Imperial Astronomer Hall. Feng Yinyang sat cross-legged, his body emitting a faint green light. After a while, Feng Yinyang suddenly opened his eyes. Ghost Valley Secret Art. Just as I thought, the South Sect and the Northern Sect took a long time to comprehend it. How could it be so fast when the two sects combined? Ghost Valley? Am I really the reincarnation of ancestor Gui Guzi? Feng Yinyang frowned and thought, just as Feng Yinyang was exclaiming about his increase in strength. Dong! A bell chime came from the outside world. Feng Yinyang walked out of the hall, curiously, and looked at a huge volcano in the distance. What a heavy chime. Is this Jin Dayu? Divine Emperor Bell? Feng Yinyang narrowed his eyes. In the distance, inside the volcano. In the depths of the volcano. Jin Dayu looked at the huge golden bell in front of him. Jin Dayu's eyes were brimming with heroic spirit. Excitement flashed in his eyes as he said, I finally have some ability to protect myself. The Divine Emperor Bell has completed its first form. Even if I face Bai Ditian, I can still fight him. At the same time, in the residence of Dajin's first army commander, Huoguang was in a deep sleep. While sleeping, Huoguang's body was shrouded in a bloody aura that surrounded the entire bedroom. None of the servants dared to approach. In his deep sleep, Huoguang's face was malevolent. Soon after, his face became solemn and stirring. Huoguang had a strange dream. In the dream, he was wearing a suit of armor and holding a bronze sword in his hand. With tears in his eyes, he solemnly placed the sword on his neck. Heavenly Sovereign, Meng Tian has chased after you. My spirit is connected to the fate of the Heavenly Sovereign. If the Heavenly Sovereign dies, I die. If the Heavenly Sovereign reincarnates, I will follow you. Eternal immortality. In reality, Huoguang's body was trembling. In the dream, he used his sword to commit suicide on the spot. Plop! In the dream, Huoguang fell to the ground. As he was dying, he saw another scene. His disciple, Tan Lang, was also holding a long sword and shouting with tears of blood in his eyes. Heavenly Sovereign, Meng Yi has chased after you. My spirit is connected to the fate of the Heavenly Sovereign. If the Heavenly Sovereign dies, I die. If the heavenly sovereign reincarnates, I will follow you. Eternal immortality. In the dream, Tan Lang committed suicide. Tan Lang fell to the ground and looked at Hua Guang's corpse. As he was dying, he became blurry. Brother, huh? The greedy wolf laughed bitterly and stopped breathing. In the dream, Hua Guang and Tan Lang died together. In the dream, the two of them died to follow the heavenly sovereign. They were Meng Tian and Meng Yi. Chapter 10:16. Dang! A bell rang from the outside world. Ah! Hua Guang quivered and immediately woke up. Hua Guang was covered in cold sweat, as though he had just been fished out of the water. Whoosh! A figure rushed into the hall. It was Tan Lang. Master, what's wrong? Tan Lang looked at Hua Guang in surprise. Hua Guang looked at Tan Lang. This was his brother in the dream? After a long silence, Hua Guang said with a complicated expression, I had a strange dream. Dream? Tan Lang, let's not be master and disciple anymore. Let's be brothers. How about that? Hua Guang said seriously. Ah, Tan Lang was confused. From today onwards, call me Big Brother. I will personally report this to His Majesty. Hua Guang said seriously. Ah, Tan Lang was still confused. Archaic Mysteries sect within the God-carving life formation. It had become the stage for Yin Chuan and Zhu. Victory! 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 The two were victorious all the way, defeating all the heroes. At the same time, they subdued all the heroes. The two did not bite off more than they could chew. They only did what they could. They only subdued the sect leaders of their respective divine continents. Zhu subdued 5 sections. By now, Yin Chuan had already subdued 6 sections. The two factions seemed to know of each other's existence. They seemed to have deliberately avoided fighting until everyone else was expelled from the God-carving life formation. Only then did the two slowly calm down. They did not leave. Instead, they rested and recuperated, waiting for the final battle. Outside the God-carving life formation, the Archaic Mysteries sect disciples were also looking at the last 2 factions below. Yin Xian's eyes flashed with satisfaction. These 2 groups were too outstanding. Li Si and Meng Lingtian also landed beside Yin Xian and Heavenly Daughter. Congratulations, fellow Taoist Yin Xian. After such a huge wave of elimination, the 2 groups before us are about to decide the victor, and they are both heroes of the world. Meng Lingtian smiled. Yin Xian nodded. Sect leader Yin, I wonder which side sect leader Yin favors? Yin Chuan? Zhu? Li Si asked. As soon as Li Si spoke, Meng Lingtian's eyes lit up. Meng Lingtian's mind spun rapidly. That's right. Who would the Tianji sect help? Yin Chuan? Zhu? Helping Yin Chuan was the best option. Li Si had already entered the Great Zhun Empire. But what about Zhu? Did he have to consider the Julu Academy as well? Perhaps Meng Lingtian looked at Li Si. Perhaps it would not be a bad idea to send Li Si to the Yao imperial dynasty. After all, De Zhen already had his great-great-grandson, Meng Wenruo. Meng Lingtian's eyes flashed. He looked at Yin Xian. Yin Xian frowned. Zhu was the greatest person in the world 30,000 years ago. Actually, the Archaic Mysteries sect had already investigated him 30,000 years ago and was extremely satisfied with him. After his reincarnation, he seems to be even more outstanding than before. As for Yin Chuan, he's even more extraordinary. In less than a century, he's already achieved what he is today. Hee. Yin Xian shook her head and stopped talking. Clearly, both of them were extremely optimistic. They did not want to express their opinions right now. Looking at how Yin Xian did not want to talk about it, Meng Lingtian and Li Si could only feel helpless. However, the heavenly lady at the side spoke up. If it came down to this, who would you choose? Choose who? Choose now? Everyone looked at Zhao Afong in surprise. Yin Xian looked at Zhao Afong in surprise as well. Can you tell us, sect leader? Zhao Afong asked once more. Looking at Zhao Afong's relentless questioning, Yin Xin finally smiled bitterly. Since the heavenly lady wishes to know, I'll share my thoughts as well. Chapter 1017. Everyone looked at Yun Xin. I think highly of both of them. If there is no battle, I'm willing to let the archaic mysteries sect become a vassal. However, if I have to choose one, I'm more willing to choose Yin Chuan, because his potential is too terrifying. Yin Xin took a deep breath and said, "Oh." Meng Ling Tian was delighted. Zhao Afeng was also slightly surprised. Of course, everything depends on the final battle. If Zhu can subdue Yin Chuan, I'm more willing to choose Zhu. Yin Xin smiled. Zhao Afeng nodded, as if he was secretly relieved, as if he was happy for Yin Chuan. As for Meng Ling Tian and Li Si, there was no need to say anything. The two of them were praying that Yin Chuan would win. Finally, after resting for 2 days, the two sides began to gather at the center. The center was where the fairy palace was located. The two sides walked to the square of the fairy palace. They looked at each other. Yin Chuan took a step forward. Zhu also took a step forward. The two experts looked at each other. Yin Chuan, Zhu said indifferently, "Have you rested well?" Yin Chuan smiled. "Aren't you the same? I didn't expect the final opponent to be you." Zhu sighed. The two experts were about to have their final battle. Countless cultivators in the surroundings were excited as they looked at the center of the square. However, at this moment, Yin Chuan smiled and looked to the north in the direction of the archaic mysteries peak. "Zhao Afeng, can you hear me?" Yin Chuan called to the north. "Zhao Afeng? Fairy?" Why was Yin Chuan calling for a fairy at this moment? Everyone looked at Zhao Afeng curiously. However, Zhu frowned. In the distance, at the top of the archaic mysteries peak, Zhao Afeng was stunned. Then, he became flustered. He even became anxious. However, Yin Chuan smiled and said, "Do you still remember what I said to you that day? The God-making plan? I, Yin Chuan, don't care about it. I won't compromise for it, or even give up my persistence." Hua! Countless cultivators in the surroundings revealed shocked expressions, causing an uproar. What kind of tone was Yin Chuan using? Does he not care about the God creation plan? The vassal of the Celestial Arcanum sect didn't care? Compromise? Persevere? What did he mean? The faces of the Celestial Arcanum sect disciples turned extremely ugly. The God-making plan was a vassal of the Celestial Arcanum sect. In the hearts of the Celestial Arcanum sect disciples, how sacred was that? Similarly, whoever was chosen would be honored. Everyone who participated in the God creation plan should be incomparably honored. Not only was Yin Chuan not honored, but he also didn't seem to care about it. Zhu also looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. The Celestial Arcanum sect was a mysterious and ancient sect. Was Yin Chuan really willing to part with it? Meng Ling Tian stood beside Yin Xin and was filled with anxiety. Was Yin Chuan out of his mind? How much effort had she put in for him? Yin Xion's face became slightly ugly as well. Only Zhao Afeng had a complicated expression on his face. There was even a moment of fear. "You don't have to be like this. There's no need to persevere." Zhao Afeng's voice trembled slightly. Li Si looked at Zhao Afeng in surprise. Why was Zhao Afeng so agitated? Yin Chuan shook his head stubbornly. "There are some things that I can give up, like the God creation plan. However, there are some things that I must persevere with. Because I understand that if I give up today, I will regret it for the rest of my life tomorrow. You said that you will return to the immortal world very soon. However, I am willing to give up the Celestial Arcanum sect as the price for a heart-to-heart test between us." With that, Yin Chuan took out the world branch and pointed it at Zhao Afeng. Zhao Afeng froze momentarily. "Come, I won't blame you. Let's have a heart-to-heart test. You and I will have no regrets." Yin Chuan shouted again. Everyone looked at the heavenly maiden in confusion. They didn't know what Yin Chuan was talking about. Chapter 1018. Zhao Afeng froze momentarily. "Come, I won't blame you. Let's verify this once. We'll have no regrets." Yin Chuan called out again. Everyone looked at the fairy in confusion. They had no idea what Yin Chuan was talking about. Others might not know, but Zhao Afong knew it extremely well. Ever since Yin Chuan first mentioned it, Zhao Afong had been avoiding it. The conflict between her beliefs and her feelings made her unwilling to verify this fact. Yin Chuan said he was familiar with Zhao Afong. Wasn't Zhao Afong the same? It was like a feeling from the unseen world. However, Zhao Afong dare not touch it. But now, Yin Chuan had already forced Zhao Afong into a corner. Even without the archaic mystery's sex assistance, he had to verify this fact. Come, Yin Chuan said firmly once more. Countless cultivators in the surroundings were confused. Even Yin Chuan's opponent, Zhu, was extremely curious right now. What was Yin Chuan trying to do with the branch of the world? Is there a need for this? Zhao Afong was troubled. At the same time, she felt pity for Yin Chuan. Zhao Afong knew that Yin Chuan came from the Immortal's world. Once he used the branch of the world, traces of being measured would be left on it. Yin Xin would definitely revoke Yin Chuan's qualification. Yin Chuan smiled instead. The 4Cs can't compare to a single finger of yours. Zhao Afong trembled slightly. It was as if a thin crack had suddenly appeared in the ice in his heart. Without any hesitation, Zhao Afong took a step forward and flew towards Yin Chuan. In the blink of an eye, she arrived before Yin Chuan. The countless cultivators in the surroundings. Li Si was stunned as well. His Majesty had said that Zhao Afong was his wife that day. Was that true? Yin Xin and the others from the archaic mysteries sect fell silent. As if they had realized something, all of their expressions became mixed. Test it. Yin Chuan handed over the branch of the world. Zhao Afong bit her lip. After quite a while, she said, "All right." A smile bloomed on Yin Chuan's face, and his eyes became even more tender. Yin Chuan grabbed one end of the world branch, and Zhao Afong also grabbed the other end with her slender right hand. She said, "I only test the fate of marriage. In the past, if you and I were husband and wife, a red circle would appear." "All right." Yin Chuan nodded. "A married couple?" Zhu's expression changed. He immediately understood Yin Chuan's meaning. Yin Chuan came from the celestial realm? Then Yin Chuan was not qualified? Yin Chuan was no longer qualified, so Zhu was the only one left. However, Zhu didn't seem happy at all. Instead, he felt a great sense of regret. Zhao Afong chanted a series of complicated incantations. At the same time, a white light shone from his palm. Rumble! The countless runes on the world branch seemed to jump and revolve around it. Yin Chuan stared at the world branch, waiting for the red circle of light. A red circle of light signified a lifetime of husband and wife. As he waited, he became more and more anxious. Half an hour later, buzz! A red circle of light slowly appeared on the world branch. The circle of light became clearer and clearer. "Zhenro, you're Zhenro. You're really Zhenro." Yin Chuan shouted excitedly. Yin Chuan cried. Tears welled up in his eyes. Zhenro was alive. Zhenro was resurrected. Yin Chuan's heart trembled. His greatest regret in his previous life wasn't the destruction of his country, but the fact that Zhenro had fallen in his arms, and he couldn't do anything about it. He even felt that Zhenro's soul had dissipated. But now, he discovered that Zhenro was alive again. Zhenro was alive again. Yin Chuan was so happy that he cried. The surrounding experts all had different expressions on their faces. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.